Doja. Slow we go past, speeding up the heartbeat, banging in the chest. When you put it on me, you relieve my stress. You got me so high, taking deep, deep breaths. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. You got me so turned up. It still gotta be so high. Weed always on my mind. No, he always on my mind. Doja. Know you want some of this part. You ain't gotta say a word. Just walk that, let's get burned. Then we'll roll up 100 fucking blunts. All up in my mouth now. All up in yo. This nigga got pounds of it. All up in his trunk. Now we both look Asian. He waving and I'm drunk. I got dank shit in my cup. You know what I'ma do to you? I could give reviews to you. Flow, we X, and we sipping on that juice. That's just what you choose to do. Slow, we go past, speeding up the heartbeat, banging in the chest. When you put it on me, you relieve my stress. You got me so high, taking deep, deep breaths. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high.
POV.
I can't tell where your hair ends and mine begins. If I'm had a body's tattoos, I would think that it's your skin. If I move too quick, that's you, I would think it's my affection. In this cold season, close enough. You could tell every time we touch, every time we up. Wish you could feel me, you could pull me. One bedroom, right where your heart is. Each space feels broken hearted. Cross the bed, feel way too foreign. I know when they see just someone new, they see us too. Ooh, I just wanna melt into you. I'm melting to you. Just wanna melt into you. Melting to you. Melting to you. Imagine you're ready for love and taste up and down. Hoping your last secret spit it out your mouth. Inhale, exhale, breathe in. With every breath I'm sinking in. No way to describe it, I'm a riot. If I wake up and I'm still not beside you, instead of beside you, just sitting surprise you. You don't even notice, no need to remind you. Wish you could build me a cute apartment. One bedroom, right where your heart is. Each place feels broken hearted. Cross the bed feels way too foreign. I wonder when they see just one, do they see us through? I'm melting to you. Hey, Century. There are times when I look above and beyond. There are times when I feel your love around me, baby. I'll never forget my baby. When I feel that I don't belong, draw my strength from the words when you said, hey, it's about you, baby. Look deeper inside you, baby. Dream about us together again. What I want us together again, baby. I know we'll be together again, 'cause everywhere I go, every smile I see, I know you are there, smiling back at me, dancing in moonlight. I know you are free, 'cause I can see your star shining down on me.
All right, y'all. I am back. Listen, I apologize for the interruption, but y'all know I could not. I could not. I had to try to figure out what was going on with this. Whether it was the computer or the Wi-Fi. I don't know what it was, but hopefully we good. I did a little test run before I came back, so hopefully we good. But I'm sort of kind of glad that I jumped off for a minute because y'all know when I be into my content, everything's still going on out there in the YouTube world, honey, that I be missing when I'm live. But listen, I got a little breaking news. So we're gonna get right back. We're gonna jump right back in where we stopped, and we got like an hour and a half to get in as much as we can as far as catching up, and then of course we'll be back tomorrow to continue. But let me play this little clip for y'all. Well, actually, it's a video. It's a video, and I didn't even watch the entire thing. I read the title. I clicked on it and I heard what I heard. It's Willie D, who I told y'all, Willie D kind of creeps me out. So it depends on his title whether or not I click on his stuff, and I rarely react to it. But if this is true, and I think it is because I think he showed an article. Um, I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is. I'm gonna let y'all listen yourselves. Make sure y'all double tap the screen. That live we had to end it abruptly, I should say, but it did really good as far as the views and stuff, which I'm happy about. This is part 2. So listen, let's start it off with this right here. Y'all listen to this. Let me pull it up. And I think this was just, let me go to my, this was just dropped, y'all. Let me tell you how long ago it's been. Uh, he just put this out. Well, actually, 3 hours ago. But of course, I was on live. I saw it when I stopped my live. 3 hours ago, Willie D posted this.
Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Well, what do we have here? According to WXXV Channel 25, which covers Gulfport, Biloxi, and Pascagoula, Mississippi, the parents of Nolan Wells' friends and local officials should be expecting some lawsuits. Now, why would the good people of Mississippi who love God, church, community, family, and all of God's children be expecting a lawsuit? Well, let's get into the story. Parents of Nolan Wells' friends and local officials were reportedly sent notices of intent, informing them to expect lawsuits in connection with the investigation surrounding Nolan's death. According to their media partner, the Sun Herald, those letters were sent by Ridgeland law firm Carol Bufkin PLLC, who is working alongside civil rights attorney Ben Crump. It is unclear at this time who exactly received these letters, but we do know they instruct recipients to immediately preserve all evidence in their possession in its original form and directs those recipients to suspend any automatic deletion or overwrite functions that could destroy evidence.
Now, so apparently Nolan's parents, or I don't know if they plan on suing these parents, or this just some legal paperwork in order to get them not to destroy evidence. But if they are, let's just say they are filing, what I'm saying, some type of lawsuit or whatever. Are we surprised? I mean, that's why Ben Crump comes into play. When Ben Crump comes around, you can best believe. hey, toy play. You can best believe that a lawsuit is coming, or potentially, right? So I'm not shocked. But we're gonna listen to that one more time because I want to understand this article of what these legal papers are actually saying. Because he said lawsuit, but I'm hearing something else. But let's listen one more time to this little thing.
What's up, family? Well, what do we have here? According to WXXV Channel 25, which covers Gulfport, Biloxi, and Pascagoula, Mississippi, the parents of Nolan Wells' friends and local officials should be expecting some lawsuits. Now, why would the good people of Mississippi who love God, church, community, family, and all of God's children be expecting a lawsuit? Well, let's get into the story. Parents of Nolan Wells' friends and local officials were reportedly sent notices of intent, informing them to expect lawsuits in connection with the investigation surrounding Nolan's death. According to their media partner, the Sun Herald, those letters were Carol Bufkin PLLC, who is working alongside civil rights attorney Ben Crump. It is unclear at this time who exactly received these letters, but we do know they instruct recipients to immediately preserve all evidence in their possession in its original form and directs those recipients to suspend any automatic deletion or overwrite functions that could destroy evidence. I ain't got no problem with that. Right now is the time to press, turn up the heat, smoke these uncivilized mutts out because they're withholding information. I say check them all of them. In fact, don't stop at the parents. Investigate the siblings. Any of them that got siblings, investigate. Siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, pastors, what do you call those people, those Catholic people, the priest. Get them, talk to them. People love confessing to them. I don't know why, because they never confess. Unless they're in even when they're in
they confess to their priest, the priest ain't gonna tell it. Not normally, but this 2026.
Interrogation room for messing with little kids. They never confess. It's amazing how people do that.
Not pressure, keep it cute.
Tell all their business to
Pressure
a
girl.
dude who's supposed to have a direct connect to God or something. Anyway, but yeah, fam, this was much needed. This is much needed. I think that Mississippi has been so arrogant for so long, and they've been getting away with murder literally for so long, that they still aren't taking this seriously. I think that maybe a few of the residents who might not be the hardened generational Mississippi criminal families, they may.
I'm gonna say this for one more time for the people in the back. The ignoramuses that sit in the back and want to be seen, want to be acknowledged. And this and that and the third, and just angry because they wake up, and angry because they may be lonely, angry because they may be broke. I don't know, they just be angry. But Ben Crump, and I don't defend Ben Crump. I got my issues with Ben Crump. I say what I say about Ben Crump. I speak facts, whether it's against or for Ben Crump. It is what it is. He's grimy too as well. Hell, they all grimy. But let me say this. I'm gonna state this one more time because it's a fact. Ben Crump is a civil rights attorney. 9 times out of 10, when it comes to civil rights and civil rights being violated, it has to do with black and white, not black on black. So look for another black to come out here and defend black on black. Okay, y'all just gotta stop. You just gotta stop and know what you're talking about when you put comments in a chat, because you just come off as ignorant. And a lot of times, you people don't have pictures. You don't identify yourself. Don't nobody know who you weak motherfuckers are. And you just come out here and you just state ignorance. Everybody knows that when Ben Crump comes around, it has something to do with civil rights. Somebody's civil rights has allegedly, and when I say alleged, because, civil rights have been violated. Okay? Little knowledge for you motherfuckers that don't read or don't research, don't do none of that. Damn. It's a shame I have to stop my show to school some motherfuckers.
Have a little problem with stomaching this investigation, right? But the rest of them, man, it's so deeply ingrained in their history. I mean, their grandmammas and pappies, their great-grandmammas and great-grandpappies, and so on and so on and so on, passed this way of life down to them, where you can behave like uncivilized mutts and get a slap on the wrist, as long as we don't think you are an absolute danger to the community. You can be a danger to the community, and we'll save you, but you can't be an absolute danger to the community. And if you kill black people, we're not going to really pursue it. That's what we are. This is a situation. This is a systemic issue we have here in Mississippi. Now, those of you who live up top on the East Coast, West Coast, hey, don't act like you're special, because you're still in the United States. And they still, last time I checked, was killing people in New York City. The police were still gunning down.
Ain't that the reason they all come around? Ain't that the reason why they do what they do for money? I mean, I'm just saying. He ain't the only somebody that come around for the money. Ain't that what they all do? I'm just asking because you want to keep talking. Explain to me what lawyer, don't come around when it comes to the money. I mean, just honestly. My God, today.
Black men in New York City, all right, for nothing. Unarmed black men for nothing. They were still gunning down unarmed black men in Los Angeles and every other city in California. Last I checked, they were still gunning down black people in every city in America. So don't be acting like you're special.
Yeah, I'm back.
That's how they get away with murder in your city, because y'all be so unprepared. Y'all be caught off guard. Can't believe that happened here. Yeah, it's America, man. It's America. Everything about America is cut and paste. Mm-hmm. Everything about America is cut and paste, from the schools to the churches, synagogues, the mosque, shopping strips, master plan communities. You ever leave town and you go somewhere and you're like, man, it looked like the same shopping strip? It make you think you ain't drove nowhere. It makes you think that you never left town. It's cut and paste. Same thing with the police department, hospital system, all of it is cut and paste. They try something out in one city, it works, and then they replicate it in every other city. And this killing black people with impunity cut and paste ain't no different. So they're over there, they're shocked that people have the audacity to tell them to don't delete something and you're going to be investigated, you might be investigated. They're like, man, what? Because all of the agencies cover for each other. You're not dealing with just one agency. If it was just one agency that was corrupt and everybody, all of the agencies outside of that agency were like, we're going to stand on integrity. We're going to abide by the Constitution. We took an oath to protect the people and all people of.
Sometimes he get long-winded. I gotta speed him up. Y'all gotta speed him up a little bit. He already cringes me out.
Mississippi. It's be different, but it ain't like that. One agency has one rogue person does something wrong. First of all, the people within that agency protects them first, whether it be their colleague or their supervisors, managers, chief, whatever. They protect them first. If it gets outside of the agency, then they're protected by.
I do think eventually somebody's gonna talk. Like it was too many people involved. I mean, like I said, let's just say, Nolan just drowned, since that's what they want to say, right? Yeah, he can't, son. He be going off into La La Land sometimes, But listen, let's just say Nolan just drowned. Let's just say he just drowned. Why come ain't nobody even saying, I saw what happened? I saw he just drowned. He wandered into the water. He fell into the water. And this and the third, and he just drowned. How come ain't nobody just outright saying what happened? If there was no foul play, no nothing, and everybody's innocent, and it was a freak ass accident, how come ain't nobody stepping up to say that's what it was? You know what I'm saying? That's how you know something nefarious took place. Period. I'm just saying, and at some point, like you say, somebody gonna break. Depends on how much money they have been paid to keep quiet and how much they fear the backlash. Mm-hmm.
The mayor's office, they're protected by the DA, right? If it gets outside of that, then they're protected by any oversight committee. Gets outside of that, they're protected by the FBI. The FBI comes in, they protect it.
I mean, the thing about it is, it was too many people out there not to have seen. I mean, the dude was amongst thousands of people, man. Point blank, period. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not possible that he drowned and didn't nobody see anything. I'm going back to that audio. If them boys was not around Nolan, didn't see Nolan, don't know what happened to Nolan, why the fuck was Nolan's name being mentioned in that audio recording? And I clearly heard Nolan. I mean, look, I know people. Oh, Lord, people want to be angry. They want to say this and that and the third. They want to say he just drowned. You cannot ignore with the facts. You cannot ignore. 3 people going to come forward with 2 guys and 1 girl. Are you a psychic, Lanier? No evidence, no crime. Evidence is he's dead. That's the evidence, Jason. I'm sorry. People get killed every day in front of a ton of people and nobody. Well, that's true. That's true. He died on boats. Thank you, Sharon. Amen. Let's listen.
See what I'm saying, fam? It's
actually, I'm done listening to Willie. Willie said enough. What we got out of Willie is that the parents are sending out legal paperwork. Shout out to them. I think it should have been done. At this point, evidence could have been destroyed already. Just like that boat. Like, it could have been evidence on that boat. It's just a lot. But shout out to them for doing what they're doing in order to get justice for their son. Whether it was an accident or whether it was not, they deserve to know. They definitely just, they deserve to know. And they I shout out to them for doing whatever it takes to get answers. Okay, I'm gonna let you have that. Right, I do too, Jason. I don't respond to ignorant people. I can't do it.
Investigation. It is not been.
For those that's just joining on this new live, we were live previously, and I had to end the live and come back. So we're gonna pick up where we left off with this Officer Tatum asshole, and we're gonna continue on with my playlist until we are done for today, and then of course we'll be back tomorrow to finish up.
complete, and people have not came forward to say what happened with Nolan Wells. So I actually do believe his parents when they said that they taught their son to leave with whoever you came with. So for you to make the accusations that is a lie when they're burying their son on Monday is quite frankly to be disgusting, Officer Tatum.
Well,
and I'm ashamed.
You know what's funny? I hope that you're paying attention to this, because there's a lot of information that have come out, and I've gotten firsthand knowledge about some things that have happened on that island, and people are going to be ashamed of themselves for sitting here lying and pushing racism in this circumstance. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I do know. I'll let you finish. I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just saying I got firsthand knowledge too. But as we're talking about right now, talking about right now, you made the accusation that there were lies, that race has been interjected. Like I said last week, if people don't want people to speculate, then investigate. So this
Brandon, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that topic, because Ben Crump is notorious and has been criticized by people who have used him in the past for their cases of being an ambulance chaser, pushing a narrative that fits the racial lens that he wants it to. You've talked about this on your podcast and how you believe young black men are on.
He ain't listen, this is the thing. If Ben Crump is an ambulance chaser, he ain't the only one. So why y'all see, this is the thing. You know, the thing about white folk, and please don't nobody in this chat assume that I'm a racist, because I'm not. I am not a racist, but I speak the truth, and I speak what I feel like is the truth and facts. And I speak from, personal real life experiences of dealing with certain things in life. Like white people, when a person poses a threat to them, this is what they do. See, Ben Crump poses a threat to the Beckys and the Todds and shit of that nature. You feel me? See, that's why she want to sit up there with her cone head ass and talking about Ben Crump being an ambulance chaser. I feel like Ben Crump is an ambulance chaser as well, but he's not the only one. You feel what I'm saying? He's not the only one. He's doing now. If it was, listen, him being an ambulance chaser has nothing to do with the fact that these parents. Because see, I set aside Ben. And I think about the parents, and I think about the fact that they deserve to know what the hell happened to their son. And if people don't want to speak, people don't want to tell the truth, people don't want to be honest, then you got to do what you got. You got to do what you got to do to get the truth. And this is what I posted Tatum, old dry mouth, cotton mouth ass. If it was your child, what would you be doing? You want to criticize these parents. You want to criticize these parents for what they're doing in order to get justice for their son. And the people, listen, the parents ain't even the ones. The parents came out here and said, we just don't trust Mississippi and we want the truth. Whether it be our child drowned or somebody did something to him. We just want the truth. Why do you feel like these parents don't deserve that? You want to criticize everything they're doing. I don't agree with everything they're doing. I don't. But I'm not going to criticize them and say they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that. They should do whatever the fuck they feel like they need to do to find out what happened to their son. Period. But y'all want to, you want to deflect and distract and talk about being Crump, being the this and that and the third, being Crump. Who gives a fuck? If it takes being Crump to get them the answers they need, so be it. Use that conehead motherfucker like he used y'all, because he uses everybody he represents. So use him to get the answers. Period. Are you people okay? And like I say, that's the thing with a lot of people. That's what the thing with people in 2026. People cannot have empathy and put themselves in other people's shoes. If you would, before you say stupid, ignorant shit out your mouth, put yourself in these people's shoes. And I don't know how many motherfuckers will sit around and let something happen to their child and them not want to know the truth. Except for dumb motherfuckers that come put dumb ass shit in my chat who probably ain't got kids, probably ain't even fucking. They're 40-year-old virgins who can't get ass and just mad. You feel me? Because any parent can say, I may not agree with everything, but I do agree that these parents deserve to know what happened to their son. Okay. And like I said, mods, the trolls, unless they're disrespectful, putting the trigger words in the chat, let them ride. They don't have nothing else better to do. This is the only acknowledgement they get is when they come on social media and type in the chat. You know what I'm saying? They're pathetic. Just let them type.
Fortunately killed every single day, and people like Ben Crump and Al Sharpton just highlight certain stories that benefit them rather than the families.
Well, let's keep it real. This is all about money. Benjamin Crump will never.
Yeah, it's all about money with you. It's all about money with Benjamin Crump, and it's all about money with Becky. I mean, come on now, what y'all doing making y'all money? So why y'all criticizing Ben Crump for making his? Get the fuck out of here. You people are weird.
For show up to a kid's funeral or say anything about a kid that's killed by another black kid. But if there's an opportunity to interject racism into a situation where there's no evidence of racism, Benjamin Crump will be there to do it. What is his end goal? He's not a criminal attorney. So he's not going to help the family get justice on a criminal level. He's a civil.
Well, he may not help him get justice. And then too, I take that back because I do think some of the pressure that Ben Crump puts on these cases, it brings criminal justice. See, Tatum is ignorant as a fuck. Like, Tatum will say anything he feels like the white man thinks he should say because he's being paid by the white man. He's taking the white man's dick in his ass. He's just a token. He's a Sambo. Google it. He's a Sambo. He's a coon. So he gonna say whatever he think the white man wants him to say. And a lot of times he don't make sense. A lot of times he's lying. And a whole lot of times he's manipulating. Period. It is what it is. Stupid ass. He's pathetic. He's pathetic. He sleep with the enemy every night and don't even know it. He sleeps with the enemy every night and don't even know it. The fuck? I said it.
Rights attorney. You don't need a civil rights attorney in a case where you're wondering if the investigation is going right.
Okay, so if I'm racist, what the fuck you gonna do about it? If I'm a racist, explain to me what the fuck you're gonna do about it. And if I'm a racist, why are you over here in my chat supporting the racists? Because you do know your view counts, right? You type it in my chat counts, right? So if I'm a racist, why the fuck? Because see, I don't support people who I think are racist. Do I think Tatum is a racist? No, Tatum hates his own people because Tatum was a nothing growing up. He was bullied, he was beat up, he was nothing. He didn't get ass. So he's a whole nother thing. So if I'm a racist, why are you over here supporting me? Because you do know by watching me, you're supporting me, right? So you're supporting a racist. So apparently you don't have an issue with racists. Okay? All right.
Unless you believe this has something to do with racism.
Let him finish, and then I'll let you talk. Okay, let him finish his point, and then I'll let you respond.
On a diatribe. So
no, he's not. He's speaking, and I'll let you respond as soon as he's done making his point.
Katie, I'll let the young
lady.
If I
was that lady, I wouldn't even be on that damn show. That Becky clearly, she about want to fuck Tatum. You know, white women love black men. They do. They love them. All right. That's probably one of the reasons why Nolan is not here today. God rest his soul. But that woman, that black woman, I give props to her. What is her name? I give her all props. I do, because she conducted herself in a way I would have exited stage left. I would have. Because see, Becky, she ain't right. She ain't right.
No, he's not. He's speaking, and I'll let you respond as soon as he's done making his point.
Katie, I'll let the young lady go. Go ahead. I would love to hear what you got to say today.
Go right
ahead. Thank you, Officer Tate. Thank you. Well, let's just once again, speaking about things that you don't know about. Katie, you set it up. We're talking about Ben Crump being notorious for race baiting. I could name a couple of things that Officer Tatum here is also notorious for. So let's be careful on how we
don't need.
Girl, you better tell it with your pretty self. Girl, you better tell it. Call his chalk mouth ass out. That look like he need constant water. He's a thirst bucket. Call him out. Call him out. I got to rewind that part, baby.
I'll let the young lady go. Go ahead. I would love to hear what you got to say today.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Officer Tate. Thank you. Well, let's just once again, speaking about things that you don't know about. Katie, you set it up. We're talking about Ben Crump being notorious for race baiting. I could name a couple of things that Officer Tatum here is also notorious for. So let's be careful on how we.
We don't need these personal attacks.
I'm going to finish my statement. I'm going to finish my statement, and let me also correct you on something else. Mr. Tatum, when you said Ben Crump would never show up for a black kid that was murdered by a black kid. My cousin.
What she's about to say is what he's questioning, because this interview happened in the past. He's reacting to it, and he's saying what this lady is about to say about a family member of hers. He's calling her a liar. He's saying this never happened. Let's listen.
Gordon Turner, who was 19. I'm going to finish my statement. I'm going to finish my statement.
And Becky, you can't hang with us, girl. You see how she shut you down, Becky, on your own show. And she did it with. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about. Tatum look like a little peon over there. You know, Becky don't know what the fuck to think because all she know to do is just shut the fuck up. And let's go, sister. Let's go.
Something else, Mr. Tatum, when you said Ben Crump would never show up for a black kid that was murdered by a black kid. My cousin, Jordan Turner, who was 19 and was murdered by another black kid that also went away with his friends and never returned home. Guess who showed
Jordan
up?
Turner.
Attorney Ben.
Jordan Turner. And don't look it up and lie, because I'll look it up myself. Now, he's saying she's lying about this Jordan Turner, who she says is a family member, and Crump showed up for him.
She better be. It better be right what she's saying.
Let's see.
Because I conceded to her on the news. I said, okay, that's one. I can't name two.
Saturday for $1 million for 24-year-old Jordan Turner who faces murder and weapons charges. Does that sound right? I mean, she just mentioned the name.
I know. She said he went on a boat trip. So when Jordan Turner goes on a boat trip, he was killed.
Okay, let me refine this. Yeah, I'll do.
But you're gonna bring up a Jordan Turner that got charges, criminal charges. See how they do? Do y'all see how they manipulating? Tanya, I know y'all see it. So Opie over there, you know, the bottom, he over there pulling up some criminal charges on a Jordan Turner, trying to throw salt. You feel me? That what he just said ain't got nothing to do with a Jordan Turner that was unalived on a boat. You see how they do? Do you see what I'm talking about? This is what Tatum does. Get your punk ass out of here. Because for one thing, ain't nobody even talking about George Floyd. Get your punk ass out of here. My God.
Grant, look it up and let her finish.
Benjamin Crump, I know you're looking confused. See, this is why it's important
was that related to black people? Was black people involved in his death?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
that's how you know he don't listen. She just clearly stated that. He's not even listening. He's listening to respond, not to comprehend. He just asked it. See, when I tell y'all he made the dumbest statements and asked the dumbest questions. Yeah. I could break this motherfucker down. It would take me no time, like for real. Because for one, he don't listen. He don't. Thank you, Bradley. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Grant, look it up and let her finish.
Benjamin Crump, I know you're looking confused. See, this is why it's important
was that related to black people? Was black people involved in his death?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, that's one.
And they were convicted. And we didn't hear about it.
It don't matter if it's just one case, you long-haired motherfucker. You said he don't do it. And just because all cases are not in the media don't mean the man don't show up. Like, I don't strictly ride for Ben Crump. Like, he got some shit about him too. And I pointed it out. But you can't take away what the truth is. You can't. If he showed up, you made a statement. She debunked it. I think that fucker stay in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. He's a token black.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
This is why you don't know. This is why you should speak of what you know and not what you heard. So again, when it comes down to Nolan Wells, I ask that we use this time to ask people to come forward and speak about what they know. The young man did not come home, Brandon. He didn't come home. So let's use this time instead of focusing on what people are saying in the comments. Let's continue to stay in
Brandon. I mean,
this mother.
You guys keep trying to interrupt. Y'all can't shut this woman down. You can't shut her down because for one, she's stating facts. For once she stay facts, you cannot shut her down.
Ben Crump is the one making this conversation in the media. He's the one pushing this out there, so people do speculate ahead of the investigation, not letting it play out. But Brandon, I want to ask you this question.
Okay, I think the cop did it first. I think that cop who said, "Oh, he just drowned," I think he speculated before an investigation was done before anybody. That's just facts.
1 second. Brandon, there's been a lot of accusation and pushing that Nolan Wells' white friends have not been questioned enough as if they were somehow responsible for his death based on race. That seems like a highly irresponsible narrative to be pushing, especially when we don't know all of the facts yet.
100%. It is a flat out lie. The police department isn't doing their investigation. They're doing it fair and properly. You can't. Benjamin Crump cannot come out right now and say that the investigation.
How can you say what the police department is doing fair and properly? How do you know that, Tatum? You're a washed-up football player. You're a washed-up cop that didn't even make 10 years. How do you know what the police are doing? How do you know that? But you're going to come out here and state it every time because that's what Massa instructs you to do. Massa instructs you to come out here and do and say what you do and say. You are not a man. You have no control over your own content. See, me, that's why I don't give a fuck about sponsorships and all that type of stuff when it comes to my channel. I come on this motherfucker and I'm going to conduct it the way I want to conduct it, say what I want to say and how I want to say it. But see, I don't expect everybody to be like me. See, you can't, I'm not a sellout. Tatum, I hope they paying you well, sir. Because the way you look, it's ridiculous. I really hope they paying you really, really well. Like, for real. It needs to be worth it. But just like my granny used to tell me, all money ain't good money. And like I said, you sleep beside the enemy every night. Period.
It isn't going like it should. They're interjecting race into something that has nothing to do with race. These boys were friends. The coach came out, who happened to be a black man, that said he don't believe race is a factor. These boys grew up together. These boys go to school together. This is a tragic situation.
Of course he gonna come out and say that. That man need his damn job. Are you okay? Of course, he's not gonna come out and say otherwise. That man need his damn job. You would bring up that weak shit. What else is he gonna say? He just like you got to say what the white man say to say. Are you okay? Try bye.
And they should leave it at what it is, and that's a tragedy. Let the investigation unfold. Benjamin Crump they're already out saying this had something to do with race because the boy was with white guys. That is asinine.
Just like you describe it when you talk about black on black crime constantly. So what a young black boy went with his white friends and didn't come back. So why are you not asking the white children to speak up? Nobody saw nothing, Brandon.
They are speaking.
All right, we got to do anything.
We hope that the family can get some answers because a young man is dead.
Yeah,
and
all right.
want
So that
his
was the
family
end
to
of
have
it.
closure.
You know, a little ghetto.
That woman was not ghetto. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew he was gonna. That woman was not ghetto at all. She was not. You weak bitch. You don't worry about her. You going home to your Becky, who probably poisoning your food and killing you slowly, bitch. That's what you do. That woman was not ghetto. And for you to sit there and say that shows, like I said, you're not a man. You are not a man. You're lying on that woman. She was not ghetto. She was very respectful, very classy, and she was telling the motherfucking truth. And you were sitting up there looking like a peon. You were sitting up there looking like a peon. Period.
Why did it? What does it got to do with them being white? Like, even if they did something to him, why can't it just be they did something to these boys did something to him and they should go to prison?
Oh, now it's even if they did something to him, because you know. I'm surprised you said that part. Even if they did something to him. So even if they did something to him, what that? You see? Wow.
Now we know they ain't had nothing to do with it because these people talking out of both sides of their mouths. Joe, to your question, yes, but I don't know what.
She shut you down, and you can't handle that. You had to react to that woman. So where's the evidence that she was lying, Tatum? Ain't that the reason why you played that clip? Where is the evidence that that young lady was lying? See, you played that clip because she hurt your little feet. She had your balls in a vice grip and made you look like the peon that you are. So you had to play that just to come out here and say she was ghetto. Wow. What a weak motherfucker you are.
Time it is. It's 7:58. Oh, I got plenty of time. It's so early. Yes. But going back to what I said is that, look, you make your mind up. The white boys are guilty because they left him. They wanted you to believe they left him on a deserted island. That's how they made it out to be like they're guilty of his death because they must have did something to him. And
he keep repeating that lie. Ain't nobody never said nothing about Nolan was left on Gilligan's Island, bitch. On a deserted island. You got to keep up that lie. You have to keep that lie
and
up.
left him to die. And now the world has found out after they pushed this narrative that he was there with hundreds of other people and tons of his other friends.
We knew that from the beginning. You the only one telling that lie. You are the only one telling that lie. I have never ever, and I said it on my last live, and I say it again. Have I heard anyone say Nolan was out there with just those guys? Never. He's the only one pushing that lie, pushing that narrative. He's the only one telling that lie. Okay, so apparently Don Lemon, I'm gonna skip him. I'll come back to him. So this is Chronicle Speaks. All right, that's my girl. Let's react to
Nolan
her.
Xavier Wells.
Let's react to her.
Was laid to rest this week, and we received the preliminary findings from the independent autopsy, which remains undetermined pending further investigation. Now, the independent medical examiner is hoping to work in conjunction with the Mississippi Medical Examiner's Office, since the office received and examined Nolan's body first. This collaboration could provide critical information regarding the position and condition in which Nolan's body was found, as well as access to portions of the neck that were retained during the initial autopsy for further examination.
We interviewed the doctor who did Nolan Wells' second autopsy in 2023. Check out the footage from the interview.
Oh, I didn't find that. Yes, it's consistent with what they're telling you. No, it's not consistent with what they're telling you. We don't get full reports until that first autopsy report comes, because there's some limitations with a second autopsy, as you can imagine. So we're very transparent, very objective. And the majority of cases that I've done at Know Your Rights are what they said they were, right? Are what initially they thought it was going to be. And there's some that haven't been. My mom got a diagnosis not too long ago of multiple myeloma. She got a diagnosis of multiple myeloma, and she said, I got a diagnosis. I trust my oncologist. I trust my primary care provider. But Roger, I want a second opinion. They went to the second opinion. We did all the tests. Turned out it wasn't multiple myeloma, right? It was an inflammation that resolved itself.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a really
That's not uncommon. A lot of people get mixed diagnosed with cancer because giving a person, chemo and radiation and all that, it calls for big bucks. They make big bucks. That's why they've been on the cure for cancer, and they've never, put out the cure for cancer. They've been researching cancer and all other kind of diseases for years, but yet they want you to continue to donate to the research, but ain't no answers. But the fact of the matter is there are answers. There's a cure for all that shit. They just don't put it out there because they cure who they want to cure because it's the big bucks. So this man's mother was mixed diagnosed with cancer. That happens all the time. People go through whole chemo, radiation, and all that, and find out they ain't never had no damn cancer. It happens all the time. It's 2026. We're not finna play.
That's a big. Do you understand? That's a serious diagnosis. We thought that this was what we were going to be dealing with. At second opinion, it wasn't.
Exactly,
so imagine
Brad.
if you're a family member and they said that your loved one died from sickle cell trait. Right? There was a big news story in the New York Times that won a Pulitzer that I was quoted in.
I don't know if y'all saw it, but I saw a couple of weeks ago. I should have saved it. But this young man, apparently, I can't even remember where it was, but allegedly, this young man, they cured his sickle cell. I don't know if y'all saw it. It was on YouTube. Had to be. They cured his sickle cell. There's been a cure for sickle cell. There's been a cure for sickle cell. There's been a cure for cancer. There's been a cure for AIDS. There's been a cure for a lot of shit that they diagnose people with. And people have to be on these medications and take these long-term treatments. And this it's cure for all that shit. You can't tell me that motherfuckers who've been, raising money or collecting money for years for research on cancer and this and that and the third ain't came up with a cure yet, but can put a motherfucker on the moon. Huh? But that's for another live. I ain't gonna even get into it. I'm not gonna even get into it.
About sickle cell trait causing sudden death. Imagine your family says your loved one died from sickle cell trait. And you're like, what? They died from sickle cell trait. They're in prison, they're in jail. And then that loved one gets a second examination, and there's bruises and fractures and a bleed in the head and grit marks all over them. It's not sickle cell trait that they died from. Right. They died from that altercation with law enforcement. Right. That's the type of second opinion that forensic medicine should be providing, just like any other.
Exactly.
As Dr. Mitchell articulates in the video, usually the investigatory process is a collaborative one, particularly when you are trying to resolve what happened to a victim. We heard during Attorney Crump's press conference yesterday that Nolan Wells' body was badly decomposed. This is why collaboration, cooperation, and transparency are critical to give the victim's family peace of mind.
However, District Attorney Angel Myers McGrath has of the state's autopsy will remain sealed until they are presented to the grand jury. This raises questions about when or whether the independent.
Oh, so they're not gonna even release the autopsy results. They're gonna seal it. They sealed it. So they're not gonna release their autopsy results. They're just gonna release it to the grand jury. Why is that? No, you don't die from the sickle cell trait. You don't. If you have the trait, you pass the trait along to. I ain't gonna get into all that. I don't even want to talk about it. Say I had a friend that passed away from sickle cell. I'm not gonna talk about that, but yeah, you don't die from the trait. You don't die from having the trait.
District Attorney Angel Myers McGrath has stated that the results of the state's autopsy will remain sealed until they are presented to the grand jury. This
I heard that.
Resolve what happened to a victim. We heard during Attorney Crump's press conference yesterday that Nolan Wells' body was badly decomposed. This is why collaboration, cooperation, and transparency are critical to give the victim's family peace of mind.
However, District Attorney Angel Myers McGrath has stated that the results of the state's autopsy will remain sealed until they are presented to the grand jury.
Findings from the state's autopsy will remain sealed until presented to the grand jury. Odd. Very odd, but okay.
Raises questions about when or whether the independent medical examiner will receive the information needed to complete their examination and reach a final conclusion about Nolan's cause and manner of death. So with all of this happening behind the scenes, we have to pick up where we left off with Officer Tatum's interview with Warren. And I must say, with the way Warren is talking, contradicting certain details, unknowingly answering some burning questions we had, while possibly implicating himself, there is no way in the world Judge Ashley Cole saw this and was okay with it. And if she did, they're probably not as close as we thought. Now, there is no way under the sun I would allow a stepson I love to voluntarily sit down for an interview and potentially make such a mess of an already serious situation. It's not like Warren was subpoenaed, called to the witness stand, or...
Yeah, this is crazy. This is weird. And let me go back and start over from what she says, because that's weird. To me, honestly, a judge should know better. Warren should not be doing interviews, but Warren ain't gonna do no interview with nobody but Tatum, because Tatum handled Warren the way the white man wanted Tatum to handle Warren. But truth of the matter, Warren shouldn't even be talking, because let's just say this: even if he did nothing, or you know what I'm saying, it's an investigation going on, and as a judge, his stepmama should know with any investigation, he has no business out here doing the interview with Tatum or nobody else. But like I said, his stepmom is a judge. Why are they allowing this boy? He shouldn't even be speaking. For real, at all.
Medical examiner will receive the information needed to complete their examination and reach a final conclusion about Nolan's cause and manner of death. So with all of this happening behind the scenes, we have to pick up where we left off with Officer Tatum's interview with Warren. And I must say, with the way Warren is talking, contradicting certain details, unknowingly answering some burning questions we had, while possibly implicating himself, there is no way in the world Judge Ashley Cole saw this and was okay with it. And if she did, they're probably not as close as we thought. Now, there is no way under the sun I would allow a stepson I love to voluntarily sit down for an interview and potentially make such a mess of an already serious situation. It's not like Warren was subpoenaed, called to the witness stand, or forced to answer these questions under oath. He chose to participate in this interview, and instead of clearing things up, his statement may have created even more questions. Warren appears to be spilling all the beans, whether he realizes it or not, and this interview has quickly become a much bigger mess than anyone may have anticipated. So let's pick up exactly where we left off, and let's talk about it.
Right here is where Nolan and probably 20 other kids got on the boat. So it's not just Nolan and 3 other kids. That was a lie. That was a myth. I'm going to prove that. Right here is where the kids were docking, and we're going to show you a video that coincides. I'm going to walk at the exact angle that the video is being broadcast from, so you know that I'm exactly where I say I am. But the boys were here. Tons of people you'll see on the video is getting onto the boat, and they took 3 boats out. It wasn't just one. It wasn't just Nolan and 3 and 4 boys. It was a multitude of people on several different boats. And some of the boys that they're accusing weren't even on the boat that Nolan was on. But let me show you from the vantage point where I have the video to prove that I'm here where I say I am. And so right now, here's the angle that you're going to see on the footage. It's just from probably that boat to, maybe about 30, 40 feet here to the right. And this is where the video is showing how many people were actually out there, actually getting on the boats, So therefore, it debunks very clearly that it was only Nolan and 4 boys going out here to Horn Island.
So this is my video on the left that I recorded with Google Maps. This is his video on the right. Of course, you can still see the same pool, the same boat line. I told you this is the $1 million home belonging to Eli Jax Patalo. Whether Nolan was with 4 people, 10 people, 20 people, that wasn't the question. The question was, why didn't Nolan come back? They're quick to show everyone leaving this spot going to Horn Island, but let's see when they got back and who all came back with them. Let's go through the GPS. Again, 9:56, they leave Eli Jack's grandparents' home. At 11:14, they arrive at Horn Island. At 4 o'clock, there's a distress call that their bilge pump stopped working and that they were sinking. They said, can you please come help? 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island. 4:31, the boat is also towed, and we'll get into that in a moment. At 5:44, the boat returns to the original dock, back to Eli Jack's grandparents' home. We don't see that. We don't see who returned back with them. At 5:52, this sinking boat travels into Fort Bayou. At 6:06, it goes back to Eli Jack's grandparents' home. We do not have surveillance of that. They stay there for an
Explain that. Explain why they would show them leaving, but didn't show them coming back. See what I'm saying? Explain that. Shout out to Chronicle Speaks. Shout out to her.
and that they were sinking. They said, can you please come help? 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island. 4:31, the boat is also towed, and we'll get into that in a moment. At 5:44, the boat returns to the original dock, back to Eli Jack's grandparents' home. We don't see that. We don't see who returned back with them. At 5:52, this sinking boat travels into Fort Bayou. At 6:06, it goes back to Eli Jack's grandparents' home. We do not have surveillance of that. They stay there for an hour and 13 minutes, and then finally goes back to Fort Bayou and is then driven back to Wyatt's house.
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy, and we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all plan to meet up that day.
So I want you to keep all of that in mind because things start to crumble. Let's just take a second.
Yeah. But I mean, we're walking towards the east right now, but if you walk down to the west, that's where the west tip of the island is, and that's where the current picks up very, very bad.
That morning, the body was observed on the northwest portion of Horn Island.
And people say that you guys just left Nolan behind. I've seen reports of people saying that you just left him. I see reports of people saying that you asked him to get on the boat, you told him to get on the boat, he didn't. What's the truth in that?
Well, Wyatt was having boat issues, and the bilge wouldn't pump. So the bilge is basically a pump that releases water from your boat when water comes in. So I opened the back hatch, and there's water up to the batteries. And that is obviously not good. There's water almost coming over the transom, which is where your motors sit, and which is by the stern, like in the back part of the boat. So obviously we were in emergency. The boat, we're trying to save the boat. It's not like we didn't ask Nolan.
Yeah, I gotta point this out. Shout out to you, Bradley. Remember I told y'all it was the reason why in that interview he was calling out other names and one person was referred to as my buddy. Remember I told y'all it was gonna come out why he wouldn't name this particular person. Turns out this particular person, they saying could have had something to do with Nolan passing away. All you gotta do is let people talk. I don't even know why the judge allowed this. You saying all these names and naming all these other people, but this one particular person, you're saying my buddy. Pay attention, people.
Left Nolan. Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with, and the girl is a witness to that too.
Yeah.
Now, you remember Katie's sister Gracie said that Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him.
Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with, and the girl is a witness to that too. Yeah.
As a former video journalist, I don't just hear the words, I see the edits. In today's age, every interview is going to be a polished production. And that means you have to look at every single thing with a critical eye. If you watch the whole thing, you're going to see the shift from when he's comfortable talking to when he struggles. You'll see he's very comfortable talking about the island and then going in on protocols for phones and water for 3.5 minutes.
If you drop your phone in salt water, most of the time you're not going to get it back. I mean, you know, especially the water's murky right now.
At the moment that he gets the big question from Tatum that relates to Nolan or any pivotal facts to the case, he struggles to retell that moment.
So obviously we were in an emergency. We're trying to save the, it's not like we didn't left Nolan.
He starts, then there's a cut, then wraps it up awkwardly and quickly puts it off to the girl who's on the island. I'm not here to convict, but I can question. If you can give a whole TED talk on phone water safety, you can clearly articulate about leaving the island.
So now going into the third part of the interview that Officer Tatum did with Warren, Warren begins to talk about the Triton. The Triton is the boat that Ike owns. Ike Pyron is Wyatt Pyron's brother.
I got on the Triton, and the Triton had probably about 6 inches of water up to the transom. And I was freaked out because I'm good friends with Wyatt, and that was his boat. And, you know, no water's coming out, no access water's coming out. And, you know, it was a big issue because I think the reason was because there were so many people getting on and off the boat. And at some point, the boat was very, very crowded, and there was just a lot of people on. So it drags water in. And eventually, I think over time, we were out there for a couple hours. The boat just started filling up with water. So I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater. And so the motor wouldn't trim down. I mean, my buddy would go to trim it down from the console, and it'd trim down, and then it'd come right back up. And so Wyatt's trying to throw a rear anchor, so we're caught, and he's, you know, yelling at people. Everybody's kind of freaking out. And eventually I'm like yelling at other people, trying to tell them, you know, calm down. Like, you know, the boat could possibly sink, you know, and I'm not paying attention to everyone around me. I was paying attention to my buddy's boat. And that's what all my other friends that were on that boat were doing, trying to solve the problem.
So you're on the boat now. The water's getting up to the point where the boat may be disabled to where you couldn't get it out from Horn Island. So what happens after that?
Wyatt jumps to the water, tries to throw a rear anchor, and my buddy Meyer, you're sitting looking, trying to pull trash out the bilge. And the bilge is basically a pump that pulls the excess water out the boat. So the bilge was failing to work. So any excess water was just sitting in the boat. It wasn't getting pumped out. And I looked over the gunnel, and I looked at the release hole for the bilge, and it was even with the water. So, I mean, we're all freaking out. All of our, you know, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well, then eventually my buddy Bart on the tide line is like, I'm going to pull y'all out to where we're out of all this, you know, all this chaos. Cause we left at 4:30 and there were still just as many people there, if not more than when we got there. I mean, probably around the same amount. I mean, it was crazy. Like there was a lot of people. And, I mean, eventually Bart pulls us out. You know, we left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out, and we had the towing strap pulled from, you know, Bart's port side cleat or starboard side cleat, and he was on our starboard side bow. And so it was rubbing on his power pole. So Bart turned around, pulled up next to our boat, and we were just trying to get it situated. So that's when Wyatt called Seatow.
Someone on the boat reported a mechanical failure to a private towing company.
I want to get this boat on sank and towed back.
The towing dispatcher reached out to a local boat captain to help.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
But the company says it did not end up towing the boat, saying to NBC News in a statement, before assistance was rendered, the vessel owner advised that sea tow was no longer needed because help had already been obtained. Sea tow's involvement concluded at that point.
And Wyatt was like, you know, calls them, because the cell service isn't great at the island, but once you can use your phone, but stuff might not descend. And like, I mean, it's not great. You know, you got maybe one bar and it won't work that well. But once you get a little off the island, you have cell coverage. And even on the island, like I called my mom when we were on the island, you know, it was fine. Like,
and so you guys get ready to leave out of there, get towed out.
Yeah.
And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, the last time I saw Nolan was 3:00, and Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie.
Can you explain to me how kids that allegedly didn't have their phones and weren't keeping up with the time, and they were just all out there having a good old time, and they were drunk and they was partying, they was this and that and the third, how they can pinpoint 3:00? Can anybody explain that to me? Because that's the consistency, 3:00. Well, actually, it's been a little off because, you know, initially the stepmama said one thing and the mama came out and said another one, but Can you explain to me how he know? See, so for you to say the last time I saw Nolan was at 3:00, that means when you saw Nolan, you looked at your phone, your watch, or whatever, and saw that it was 3:00, and you remembered that. See, for him to even have a time on the last time he saw Nolan, it's suspect. Like I would believe the shit more if you say, "Here, I don't know what time it was I saw him. We were drunk, we was partying, he was off trying to get a little coochie. I was worried about the boat." I mean, for you to specifically say 3:00, that's suspect. And Warren, the thing about it is you were coached, son. You were coached, but it still didn't work. It still didn't work because this is, you should have never sat down on that coon's couch. Like for real, because you fucked yourself. And your stepmama helped you do it. Ain't that a bitch? Because she's a judge. She know the best thing. She part of the law. And what does the law say? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be held against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one will be afforded to you. Do you understand these rights, sir? Your stepmama knew that shit. My God, today.
Katie. And Katie, Nolan was sitting there, and the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing, and I was like, "Dude, you crazy?" I was like just joking with him. And but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But
and you
Katie,
knew it was exactly 3:00.
Nolan,
you saw
so
that.
you guys get ready to leave out of there, getting towed out.
Yeah.
And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3:00, and Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie. Katie. And Katie, Nolan was sitting there, and the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing, and I was like, "Dude, you crazy?" I was like just joking with him. And but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us unless they demanded to, be there and asked. This is a very common thing at Horn Island. When you're out there, a lot of people ride out there with someone and in with somebody else all the time. I've done that 100 times. It's a very common thing. But Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan. Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat.
So if Nolan is sitting by the boat with that Katie girl,
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl
as the boat is sinking, and Wyatt is cussing him out, telling him to get the F on the boat.
He was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat.
And if you recall, Warren's birth mother said that Wyatt repeatedly asked Nolan to get on the boat at 5:00 when it was time to leave.
See what I'm talking about? But you said last time you saw Nolan was at 3, but your mom said 5. See what I'm talking about? Y'all pay attention. Shout out to Chronicle Speaks once again. Y'all go over there and support her.
He was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat.
And if you recall, Warren's birth mother said that Wyatt repeatedly asked Nolan to get on the boat at 5:00 when it was time to leave, but Nolan wanted to stay with a girl, and their boat was parked next to his. He was insistent about staying with this girl. Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and people heard him. So if the distress call for the boat sinking was made at 4:00,
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
how is it that you, his best friend, hasn't seen him since 3?
The last time I saw Nolan was 3:00.
Yeah, Wyatt was cussing him out, telling him to get the F on the boat at 4:00 when y'all started to sink. And
Girl, you miss your Kyle and Chronicle. I don't know what you do in real life, girl. But hopefully you some kind of PI detective, girl. Cause see, I can't even keep the shit straight to do this right here. Are y'all paying attention? Are y'all paying attention to this? Yes. See, that's why I say, let them talk. Let them talk. Let them talk. I'm going to bag that up, and I'm going to try to play it without stopping it so y'all can catch it. I'm going to try my best. Let's go. Hold on.
You get a little off the island, you have cell coverage. And even on the island, like I called my mom when we were on the island, it was fine. Like,
and so you guys get ready to leave out of there, getting towed out.
Yeah.
And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. And Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie, Katie. And Katie, Nolan was sitting there. And the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing. And I was like, dude, you crazy. I was like just joking with him. And, but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us unless they demanded to, be there and asked, this is a very common thing at Horn Island. When you're out there, a lot of people ride out there with someone and in with somebody else all the time. I've done that 100 times. It's a very common thing. But Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat.
So if Nolan is sitting by the boat with that Katie girl.
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl.
As the boat is sinking and Wyatt is cussing him out, telling him to get the F on the boat.
He was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat.
And if you recall, Warren's birth mother said that Wyatt repeatedly asked Nolan to get on the boat at 5 o'clock when it was time to leave, but Nolan wanted to stay with the girl, and their boat was parked next to his. He was insistent about staying with this girl. Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and people heard him. So if the distress call for the boat sinking was made at 4 o'clock,
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
how is it that you, his best friend, hasn't seen him since 3?
The last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock.
Yet Wyatt was cussing him out, telling him to get the F on the boat at 4 o'clock when y'all started to sink. And everyone on the Triton heard it because all of you were right there, and Katie was right beside the boat with Nolan.
And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Get on the boat. We're leaving. If you're coming, you got to come now. And Nolan made a decision to stay out on the island. And like he said,
how many people heard that?
At least 5. Everyone that was on our boat right there. Everyone that was on our boat right there, because the Palm Beach had already left. My buddy went ahead and went home on the Palm Beach, and 3 guys on the way back. And Nolan wasn't the only person to ride out there with us and in with somebody else.
There he goes, getting uncomfortable again, and he always adds more stank on it when he starts to tell some fibs.
We had multiple people in our group that rode out with us and rode in on someone else's boat. And that, like I said, that's not an uncommon thing to do. A lot of people do that. I could name probably 50 people out there that day that ran out with somebody and ran back in with somebody else. So, it's not like it's an uncommon thing.
I'm a practicing psychotherapist. I'm working with clients who are struggling with issues like things like grief for over 20 years. And this young man is behaving very unusually. I'm going to give you some examples that demonstrate as to what I mean. Number one, the person doing the interview, whose name I will not say because I do not support him, he brought him to the location where this happened.
Exactly.
That should have been a massive trigger. You just
exactly. Oh my God. Ah! Clock it. You standing there where they found your buddy, your best friend, your brother. They found him unalive, deceased, and you have no emotion. Not a tear, not a crack. Only time you have a crack in your voice is when you're trying to keep up with the lie you telling. Y'all listen to this. I'm trying my best not to stop it, but this video is the bomb.
Number one, the person doing the interview, whose name I will not say because I do not support him.
Right.
He brought him to
I want you to remember that when I play the full entire interview with both friends. I want you to pay attention to that. Okay?
Location where this happened. That should have been a massive trigger. You just lost your best friend that you say is like a brother to me, that you explained we went to elementary school, middle school, high school together and continued to stay close through our first year of college. And now you're going back to the site where he lost his life. That is unusual. People who experience an emotional connect to somebody and they lose them, you could take that person back to the spot where they lost a friend or loved one 30 years later. And
Come on.
You're back 2 weeks later and having no emotional response to being in that location. That is very, very odd. I also strongly believe that his interview and his responses are being coached and was well rehearsed.
Absolutely.
Notice how many times, and you can see this throughout all of the interviews, but notice how many times he repeats himself. He doesn't refer to Nolan by any other phrase except Nolan. He doesn't say, man, my boy, or my good buddy, I can't believe. He doesn't say any of that. Just Nolan, 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 Nolan. That is unusual, and that level of repetitiveness tells me that this is a rehearsed response. Now, as a psychotherapist, we get trained as this kind of thing because very often we interview children who've had a traumatic experience through the family courts, like domestic violence or a divorce proceeding, or sometimes through SA. We have to interview children, and you can tell when the children have been coached by exactly things like this. I'll give you another thing that's really important that stood out to me. When people lie, they go into deep, irrelevant details. So when he was asking that clip about, like, did you ask Nolan to come back with you? He goes into a deep explanation on what a bilge is and the functionality of a boat. That has nothing to do with what is going on right now. But when people are telling stories, they oftentimes will give very deep explanations that have absolutely nothing to do with the content of the conversation itself. These are all things that let me know this young man is hiding something. I do not know what. I cannot tell you exactly what it is, but this would be incredibly alarming. And I think the last thing is he describes like Nolan wants to stay with a girl, but 100% he should absolutely be saying things like, I wish I hadn't let him. Something told me, man, we need to stick together as a group. I wish I had asked one of the other friends to stay on the boat with Nolan. There is no evidence of remorse coming from this young man at all. He is simply repeating the story, detail by detail, with no remorse, no tears, no pain, no anxiety, no affect change as he tells the story. He's just telling the story, and he's explaining it in such a way that absolves him of any responsibility and puts all of the responsibility on Nolan. He has previously in other interviews said Nolan was drinking. He did not say we were drinking. He said Nolan wanted to stay. He did not say we supported Nolan thing. Like, it's just all on Nolan. And again, 100% of the time, he should be saying something like, Nolan wanted to stay with the girl, but I wish we hadn't let him. Nolan wanted to stay with the girl, but we shouldn't have let him do this by himself. One of us should have stayed with him. He's not saying any of that. He is simply recounting the details of the story as if it's like a chapter in a book, as if it was just like a random day where nothing unusual happened, not like it's the day where he lost his best friend and someone he refers to as brother.
But it's not like we just left him there, or my friend just left him there.
There he goes, absolving himself again, going from we to my friends. Now watch him say my friends again.
Nolan made a decision to stay on the island after my friends asked him multiple times and told him to get on the boat, and he decided to stay.
And I heard the girl that he was with, Katie, had text somebody that she heard people yelling for Nolan to get on. Is that true?
And I have a picture of that. She texted my buddy, and the next day everybody was panicking and everybody's texting Katie, because she was obviously seen with Nolan the whole day at the island.
So Katie goes from being with Nolan, hugged up all day on the island, to her no longer seeing him after you guys yell at him to get on the boat. Nolan just vanishes. Y'all were quick to show the surveillance of who left Eli Jack's house, but we can't see who made it back.
Katie sent a message to my buddy the next day and said, this is the last time I saw him, he's really sweet. But she also mentioned that the last time she saw Nolan was when my buddy was yelling at him to get on the boat. And she was right there to see that Nolan decided not to.
So after being booed up with this girl all day, he decides to vanish away from her when you guys asked him to get on the boat. After he told her, I'm getting on the boat with my friends. Does this make sense?
All right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody.
How many?
While we're at it, let's just go ahead and play the whole call. Take a listen to this.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Angles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkerson. I think it's Jerry Atkerson. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have to tag
unless
on
you have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
All right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How many? All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
North. All right, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm available.
North 30 degrees, but 46.72.
All right, 4672. All right, and you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
No, we do not have a VHF radio.
All right, well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
Okay.
17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat on sank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Lawn.
All right, how many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
Y'all know what question I have? I have a question. When did the boat start having issues? Because I wouldn't imagine that they would take the boat out if the boat was having issues from when they left. So when did the boat start having issues? And what happened to the boat to make it start having issues? When did they notice that the boat was having issues and what happened? Did it just all of a sudden start having issues when it was time to go? Because I wouldn't think that Grandpa Paul would allow his precious grandbaby to take the boat out if the boat was having issues. So when did the boat start having issues and what happened? Because if the boat was having issues when they took it out and they made it to Horn Island, seemed like to me they wouldn't spend hours partying knowing that the boat was disabled over there on the shore and then try to get the boat fixed when it was time to go. Seemed like to me if the boat was having issues when they got there, they would have immediately got help, right? So when did the boat start having issues? If the boat was having issues at all, what caused them? Did something happen on the boat? Did a fight happen on the boat? What happened on the boat to cause it to have issues? I'm just asking.
You can tow this boat on sank and towed back, yes.
It looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
He did say, he said we were sinking. He said we were sinking.
We're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat on sank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Lawn.
All right, how many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yeah, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Captain Seth.
Listen to this,
Hey,
y'all.
Captain Seth, this is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee for service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who
Listen.
I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that Jerry. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And again, I couldn't find, he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership. So it's just under Jerry fee for service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to. If you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is Jerry a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up Jerry's membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are.
You can try his cell phone number.
Yes, sir. All right. Yep. Jerry. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm going to send you over an accurate one under this Jerry Ackerson one. Okay. He's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. All right. And yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right. Transfer him now. Thank you again, Captain.
All right.
Stay safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild. All righty. Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys get in the boat, you start to get towed in, and you make it back. Now, explain how did you get to the point where you were concerned about Nolan? Because obviously you said, "Hey, Nolan, y'all need to," or somebody, not
when
you,
did I get
but
to that point?
You guys had made mention Nolan need to get on a boat.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah.
You guys get back to wherever you're going.
Right.
Explain that. Did you guys go back to somebody's house, or you guys like what happened there? And then when did you feel like, well, wait a minute, where's Nolan?
Right. Okay. Well, running in was very chaotic. I mean, Nolan chose to stay on the island, so my focus wasn't on anything else other than the boat, because if the boat doesn't get in, then no one gets in. I don't want to sneak out there on my buddy's boat, and no one does. But my buddy Wyatt jumped out and pulled the plug on the boat once we kind of got out there, because he got the motor to trim down. And the motor trimmed down, my buddy Wyatt pulled the plug, and we planed off. We moved all the way to the front of the boat so we could plane off. And eventually we planed off. The boat was running. So when you're planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou, and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou.
And this is why they say a lie don't care who tell it. They left Horn Island at 4:31 and immediately went back to El Camino Rio Road, which is Jack's grandparents' house, at 5:44. But because this is another lie, watch him begin to elaborate.
A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat.
Listen.
So then after that, I docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate, and we probably plane off, and eventually we planed off. The boat was running. So when you're planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou, and we didn't just run straight up.
I don't.
Is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou, and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou.
And this is why they say a lie don't care who tell it. They left Horn Island at 4:31 and immediately went back to El Camino Rio Road, which is Jack's grandparents' house, at 5:44. But because this is another lie, watch him begin to elaborate.
A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, like the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and, napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the island, so, we were all tired. And
that's another lie, because after you went to Jack's grandparents' house, you then boogied it back to Fort Bayou at 5:52, but you only...
Y'all can't fuck with her. This is why I love her content. And see, that's another thing I've told y'all before in the past. When a person is lying, they tend to over-explain. You know what I'm saying? When a person is telling a lie, they tend to over-explain because they're lying. And they want to make sure the person that they're lying to believe they're lying, so they elaborate. This is what he's doing right now. He's lying clearly, and he's over-explaining because he's lying. And he wants Tatum to believe his lies. Pay attention, people.
And, napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the island, so, we were all tired. And
that's another lie, because after you went to Jack's grandparents' house, you then boogied it back to Fort Bayou at 5:52, but you only went there to put the plug back in the boat. But if y'all had already made it back to Jack's grandparents' house, why did you have to go to Fort Bayou to do that? The only thing I can think about that's at Fort Bayou is your car. So what did you get out of it?
The boat was already hooked up to my truck. I drove the boat from Fort Bayou boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house.
So what was the real reason for you going to Fort Bayou, and why can we not see the surveillance of who made it back to Jack's house? That's why I said there's no way in the world his stepmother loves him in real life, because if she did, if I'm catching this, her being a judge, I know she's seeing all of this. She doesn't like you.
Eventually we go over to a girlfriend of mine. She was having people over 4th of July. We were doing like fireworks and stuff. So we all went over there to swim and, hang out. And
this infamous picture that I've seen online of Nolan in the water in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Where is this picture associated with? Because you said you guys went back to swim. Nolan wasn't with you.
Yeah.
So where's this picture at? Like, what is it? What's the context around the picture that's been floating?
That picture is taken on June 27th, a week before the 4th of July. We all went to a friend of ours in Pass Christian. We have a lot of friends from Bay St. Louis, Pass Christian. We all went over there to hang out. And,
And Nolan was in that picture.
Nolan was in that picture. And if you look in the picture, my arm is around Nolan in that picture, And, that was a week before the 4th of July. So that picture is not associated within even the same. That was like a week before. So, yeah.
Now this picture is starting to make more sense. The man has USA shaved on his chest. This dude over here looks scared as hell. Nolan looks uncomfortable. And who does all of this a week before the 4th of July? And let's not forget how the poster of this picture, Evan Knoll, deleted it as soon as people started calling him out after he posted it the morning of July 5th, 2026.
So you guys are now at swimming and having a good time at a lady friend's house.
Right. I never got to the pool. I talked to her dad for a while. And all my friends were downstairs. I went upstairs, talked to her dad. We were talking about boats and stuff. And, I've been with my friends all day. I was just talking to everybody. But
so you talked to the young lady's dad, and then how long was it before you realized, or you guys realized that, where's Nolan at?
I went back downstairs, and all my friends were just hanging out. And my buddy Wyatt had addressed, talking about Nolan. And I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him? And he was like, no, we haven't. And I was like, okay, well, it's a little concerning. Like, I'm not freaking out or anything, but like, I'm trying to find out where Nolan is. So I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, and also a couple other buddies that I had at the island. I was like, hey, have y'all seen Nolan? Did he ride in with y'all? And all the boys were like, no. Well, I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, can you send me Miss Christine's number? Because I hadn't heard from Nolan. And if she hasn't heard from Nolan, then I'm calling the Coast Guard. And so eventually,
well, this is the thing. You knew you wasn't gonna hear from Nolan because you had Nolan's phone. Why would you hear from Nolan? You knew you had Nolan's phone. Nolan couldn't call you. And I still asked the question that I asked in my other live stream. When you noticed that Nolan, you know what I'm saying, was missing, you know, at that point, or hadn't been heard from or seen since you had been on the island. But you assume, because you said Nolan told you that he was going to ride in with others. So you assume that my first guess would be that you assumed, right? You would have assumed Nolan had gotten a ride back to the mainland and you just hadn't heard from him. See, I'm going to tell you how teenagers think. You becoming panicked that nobody had heard from Nolan shouldn't have been panic at all. And the reason why I say that is because you had his phone. So even if he made it back to the mainland and he was doing whatever, and he hadn't contacted you, he didn't have his phone, right? But that's neither here nor there. But so you become panicked that you ain't heard or seen from Nolan. You ain't heard from or seen Nolan. You don't call, because see, now he's gonna describe calling Nolan's mom. But Nolan's mom is not the first person he called. He called the Coast Guard. He didn't call the police. He said he called another friend, but he didn't call other, you know, making phone call after phone call. This is the thing. Like I said, if Nolan told you he was just going to catch a ride back to the mainland, he didn't tell you who he was going to get a ride with. So you could have, in that moment, contacted that person? I'm just saying. But this is the bottom line. When you became panicked that nobody had heard from Nolan, you didn't call his mom first. You didn't call the police first. You didn't make calls to other people. You say you made one phone call. Okay, great. You called the Coast Guard. You called the Coast Guard assuming at 11 o'clock at night, Nolan was still on that island. Because why else would you call the Coast Guard? Why would you call the Coast Guard? So that means at 11 o'clock at night, you assumed that Nolan was still on the island? Y'all listen.
my buddy Wyatt had addressed, talking about Nolan. And I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard?
Notice the stutter. Notice the stutter. The stuttering.
I've been with my friends all day. I was just talking to everybody. But
so you talked to the young lady's dad, and then how long was it before you realized, or you guys realized that? But where's Nolan at?
I mean, I went back downstairs, and all my friends were just hanging out, and my buddy Wyatt had addressed, talking about Nolan. And I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him? And he was like, no, we haven't. And I was like, okay, well, it's a little concerning. Like, I mean, I'm not freaking out or anything, but like, I'm trying to find out where Nolan is. So I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, and also a couple other buddies that I had at the island. I was like, hey, have y'all seen Nolan? Did he ride in with y'all? And all the boys were like, no. Well, I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, can you send me Miss Christine's number? Because I hadn't heard from Nolan. And if she hasn't heard from Nolan, then did he find out where Nolan is? So I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, and also a couple other buddies that I had at the island. I was like, hey, have y'all seen Nolan? Did he ride in with y'all? And all the boys were like, no. Well, I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, can you send me Miss Christine's number? Because I hadn't heard from Nolan. And if she hasn't heard from Nolan, then I'm calling the Coast Guard. And so eventually Javon sends me her number.
Who is her? That's
Miss Christine.
Miss Christine is
Nolan's mom.
Nolan's mom.
Yeah. And I walked down to the dock because, I mean, there was a lot of people today. It was not a lot, but, there was probably 15 of our friends there. And I was just like, walked down to the dock with a couple of my buddies, and I got on the phone. I called Miss Christine, called her the first time. She didn't answer. I called her a second time, and I got on the phone with her, and I asked her if she had heard from Nolan. She said no. And I said, all right, well, don't freak out. I'm going to call the Coast Guard. And this was at about 11 o'clock.
So what's your intent in calling the Coast Guard, right? Because right now.
And I got on the phone with her, and I asked her if she had heard from Nolan. She said no. And I said, all right, well, don't freak out. I'm going to call the Coast Guard. And
all accounts before this, it was said that he called the Coast Guard first. when the mom tells the story, she says that he called the Coast Guard before he called her. So I don't know if I don't know what that's about, but I do remember the mom saying he called the Coast Guard first.
This was at about 11 o'clock.
So what's your intent in calling the Coast Guard, right? Because right now, Nolan could be with a chick. He could be with somebody else.
Right.
He could have gone back with somebody else. What made you concerned enough that you felt like you couldn't weigh it out anymore? You had to call the Coast Guard.
Well, I mean, like I said, my friends and I have been on the water our whole life. Stuff happens. People die all the time. I know people that have died out there.
So your friend who you've known for all of these years is booed up on the beach with a girl the whole day, so much that you shake your head and say, you crazy, man.
I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head laughing, and I was like, dude, you crazy.
And your brain immediately goes to stuff happens. People die all the time. Instead of thinking, you know what? My man's probably over there laid up. Somebody call Katie and make sure he's okay. Your brain immediately goes to stuff happens. People die all the time.
Exactly.
Let me call the Coast Guard.
And, you know, it's a fun place to be, but it's also a very, very dangerous place to be if you're not handling it right. And
I told y'all when it comes to the Caucasians, they always try to stay one step ahead. This is him explaining what could have happened. Even though we don't understand why his mind went directly, just like Chronicle says. You could have just assumed he was booed up with Katie. Why not contact Katie? But your mind, your brain goes to call the Coast Guard because people die out there all the time. You immediately felt like he may have been dead. Yeah.
So much that you shake your head and say, you crazy, man.
I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head laughing, and I was like, dude, you crazy.
And your brain immediately goes to stuff happens. People die all the time. Instead of thinking, you know what? My man's probably over there laid up. Somebody call Katie and make sure he's okay. Your brain immediately goes to stuff happens. People die all the time. Let me call the Coast Guard.
And, you know, it's a fun place to be, but it's also a very, very dangerous place to be if you're not handling it right. And Nolan, so I hadn't heard from him, and obviously, I'm thinking I'd way rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I would rather call the Coast Guard 100 times and lose my mind over it, my buddy be okay, than, you know, not, and me not know where he is and him not be okay. And so I called the Coast Guard and I talked to them on the phone for like 20 minutes, gave him a description, what Nolan was wearing, the last place we were at, the last time I saw him, who were we with, what boat we were on, the conditions of the water, just a summary. And I called Miss Christine back after, and I talked to her, and I said I got in contact with the Coast Guard. I'm not sure who she called or, what she did, but I think she said she was going to make a couple phone calls to either DMR or Jackson County Sheriff's Office. And I was thinking worst case scenario. Like, I mean, I would way rather be safe than sorry about this,
Yeah, so you called. So it seems like you called mom immediately.
Right.
Probably the first phone call that she got from anybody.
That's the first phone call, like at least I made. And I would assume that's the first phone call she got from anybody because Javon hadn't called her.
Now we're shading Javon after we wouldn't even let him get on the boat to protect his friend because it wasn't enough room.
And, there's nothing wrong with that, but Javon hadn't called her. And, I was just worried about my friend. Stuff happens out there, boat problems, it could be anything. But, there's a lot of stuff that happens out there, and I was just worried about my friend.
And so you guys make that call, nothing that night. And I'm assuming you wake up the next day, and then what happens?
I wake up the next day.
Not you being able to go to sleep without knowing if your friend that you were so worried about, your brother, was okay.
Come on, Chronicle. Not only that, was able to sleep like a little baby, have parties and stuff afterwards, while Nolan is being discovered dead. Let's talk about it. See, that's why I tell people sometimes it's not in the act itself, it's the aftermath. It is the fucking aftermath and how people behave afterwards. Call it out, Chronicle.
At about 7:30, and my dad had texted me because obviously Nolan's photo was all over Facebook, and I just saw it everywhere, and I was freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, I assumed Nolan's just we had been drinking all day, and that he's just sleeping somewhere, and
Wait a minute. No. Because the night before you assumed he might have been dead. Now you saying the next morning after you done got a good night's rest, you assuming he was somewhere laid up or somewhere, parlaying. How is that possible? because it's the next morning and Nolan still hadn't been heard from. So how do you go from being so panicked the night before that you calling the Coast Guard to the next day he's still missing? Oh, I just assumed he was just this, and that, and the third. See, it doesn't make sense. But keep talking. Keep talking. Yeah.
At about 7:30, and my dad had texted me because obviously Nolan's photo was all over Facebook, and I just saw it everywhere, and I was freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, like I assumed Nolan's just we had been drinking all day, and that he's just sleeping somewhere, and that he's okay.
So first it was people die out there and things could happen, and I was scared. So the next morning, now you thinking he just might be asleep?
Nolan's just we've been drinking all day, and that he's just sleeping somewhere, and that he's okay. But I didn't want to believe that if we didn't know for sure. So I mean, next day I woke up and my stepdad walked in my room. He said, hey, have they heard anything about Nolan? Like, what's going on? Because I hadn't spoke to him, and he was like, I was like, yeah, no, I don't know. I had just gotten up, and he was like, all right, well, we're going to get on the boat and looking for him. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I got my buddy Ricky, I got my buddy Brooks, I got my buddy Jax. My mom came on the boat with my stepdad and I, and we all went out there and looked. When I got out there was dozens of DMR boats, helicopters, planes flying over Horn Island. And this wasn't just Horn Island. There was also Ship Island they were looking at, I'm sure, and Chandelier Island, Petty Boy. I mean, it wasn't just Horn Island specifically, but where I was at Horn, there were boats everywhere, and not just random boats, but marine resource boats and, cops and, the whole nine. It wasn't like there was just a couple boats looking for Nolan. There was planes and helicopters and, everybody. So.
And then after this, obviously they didn't find Nolan that day.
Right.
And so what was your reaction like when you heard the news, or how did you hear the news that they found Nolan's body?
Well, the next day, it got to be about 1 o'clock on July 5th. And I was like, my mind started to turn. I was like, man,
when somebody can give you exact times, like they're giving you a whole timeline like that, when they can give you exact times, when this and that and the third happened, they've been coached. They've been coached to give a time for this, a time for that, a time for this, and a time for that. Because even in telling this story, why are you keeping up with the times? Everything that's going on, you keeping up with the times. The most important time you catch up, you stated, is the time that you claim you saw Nolan, the last time you saw Nolan. When somebody is telling a story and they're giving direct times, they ain't saying, oh, it was about, or it may have been, you know what I'm saying? They've been coached and they've rehearsed what they're saying. Pay attention.
If he's not awake yet, where is he?
You heard the news, or how did you hear the news that they found Nolan's body?
Well, the next day, it got to be about 1 o'clock on July 5th. And I was like, my mind started to turn. I was like, man, if he's not awake yet, where is he? I got very, very worried. And, I was with my buddy Brooks today, and we're driving, and my buddies were texting my group chat. They were like, hey, listen, I got a phone call from my buddy Trace, and he was like, hey man, they just found his body. And I was like, I wanted to have hope, but it was really, really hard to have hope when they haven't found your buddy in the last 2 days. And, but there's still a little bit of hope there, maybe, he's not gone, and maybe, he's okay. But my reaction was just, I was my buddy Brooks. I broke down. I mean,
if you broke down, you would be breaking down right here telling the story, in my opinion, if you want a sociopath.
I haven't experienced death a lot, but I know people that have died out there, especially with someone I'm as close with as Nolan. And I mean, I broke down, and I sat there on my buddy Brooks' shoulder, and I cried, and I was upset. I made a couple phone calls to my buddies and checked up on my buddies because, I care about my buddies too. I mean, we're all experienced this. We all realized at the same time. We all heard the news at the same time. He's gone. And so,
question: did you, when you got the call that Nolan was gone, and you broke down and cried on your buddy's shoulder, and you made all these phone calls, did you call his mom? I mean, you called her the night he went missing. Did you call his mom? I'm just asking for a miracle.
It was really, really hard on me. I mean, I've never experienced something like this, and it was traumatic. I mean, I could tell you where and when I was there, when I got that phone call, where I was, and I just remember it was insane. I just I can't even put into words how upset I was, you know, and how upset my friends were. So,
and then comes the stories and the backlash and the craziness. I mean, you guys are now hearing that you're responsible for it. You did it. You killed Nolan. So what was the next step? Did you guys ever engage with police or?
Yeah. So the first time I talked to the police was July 7th. I talked to the lead investigator and I told them my whole story, top to bottom, dotted every I, crossed every T. I told them everything I knew, every little detail. I mean, everything I could, you know, tell them to try to figure something out, you know.
Well, you don't want to talk to the cops or
no, of course
some
not.
other guys?
You know, every person that was included, especially, you know, the guys that you see on social media, everybody cooperated with the police fully. You know, Nolan was with us on the way out and he rode out on the boats with us. So, I mean, we were the first people to get questioned. I mean, we cooperated with the police the first time they called us and, you know, we talked to them, you know, as soon as they needed and we were fully cooperative.
And we see Benjamin Crump coming to town, made it about race.
Right.
What's your feeling about that? Do you think that any of this has anything to do with race or, because I mean, obviously something happened to Nolan. It appears that you guys may not have been involved at all. Well, I say may not. It's no evidence that you were involved at all. You guys had left.
Right.
But do you think that there's a racial component to any of this?
Of course not. I mean, I think if Nolan ever felt the most little bit uncomfortable around us, which we never gave him a reason to, but if he did, he wouldn't hang out around us.
I said it once and I'll say it again. There's no way that this judge really loves this boy. Because I'm telling you, there were so many lies in this and she had to watch it before he put it out. She okayed it as a judge. I want to know what happened at Fort Bayou. I want to see the footage of everyone coming back to Eli Jack's house when they had to make that quick stop to go to Fort Bayou and then come back to Jack's house. Who was all on those boats then? If this was a simple drowning, Mississippi would have ruled it as that a long time ago and thrown this case away. It's the reason why they haven't. Justice for Nolan Wells, and we will keep screaming that until we get it. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on with the Nolan Wells case?
Shout out to Chronicle Speaks. Y'all please go over there and support her channel. She is awesome. She is awesome. All right. Let's move on. We're supposed to be getting off, but I may keep going. Let's see how long. All right, let's go to TMZ. Hopefully I won't regret this. I can't do that podcast.
Hello and welcome to the TMZ Podcast Afternoon Edition. I'm Eric Wilson.
And I am Jamie Cade.
Hey, this is our first time doing a podcast together.
Is it really?
I think so.
Is it?
You did the morning a few times, right?
In the afternoon.
And you did okay, so yes, this is our first time.
But this is not our first time.
We might come back to that one maybe. All right, so Officer Tatum again. Let's see what he's talking about.
I didn't come down here, do anything other but to get the truth. Did you kill Nolan? Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death?
Oh, okay. I think we're not going to watch this interview because we're going to watch the interview in its entirety at some point. So I'm going to skip that. Did Nolan Wells' family just get busted? Oh, let's see what this is about.
People were saying, why didn't the boys contact the mom? Why did they contact police? Why did they contact authorities? Why did mama have to find out her kid was missing? Here's evidence that Warren was first thing he did when he thought anything was afoot, when he was worried about Nolan.
Now, this right here doesn't make sense. See, this is why I say this man, he manipulates, he lies, and he continues to push lies. Now, apparently in this video, he's trying to indicate or insinuate that lies are being told about Warren contacting the mom. I've known from the gate. Look, it's certain stuff that I remember about this case when it first broke that I can't forget. I remember hearing the mom say that Warren called her that night. I also remember her saying that he called the Coast Guard first and then called her, because I remember it was being said that he called the Coast Guard around 11 o'clock and she got a call closer to midnight. I know what I remember hearing. So let's see how he's about to manipulate this.
Not coming home, and he was doing his due diligence and calling and communicating with people, trying to find out where Nolan's at. First person he called was who? Nolan's mother. Let me tell you guys something real quick. The stakes right now could not be higher. We finally have a president and in office, and that's better than fight. One he written. Well, then why was Benjamin /Tatum called 972 Patriot? Use promo code Tatum for 1 free month of service. Benjamin Crump For everybody that said Benjamin Crump wants to get to the bottom of this, he really cared about Nolan Wells' family. I'm telling you guys, they do not care. It's just a money grab. How do you know, Mr. Tatum, whether why when we reached out to Benjamin Crump that they didn't respond to us or they made some lame response after our 4th attempt to talk?
I wouldn't talk to you neither. I ain't no fucking way if I was being Crump or anybody on that team or anybody that was related to Nolan, may love Nolan, I wouldn't respond to your ass either. I wouldn't. Benjamin Crump or nobody else is obligated to respond to you. Who the fuck are you? I mean, the boys, they let the boys been over there, let them go over there and talk to you. I wouldn't respond. There's no fucking way I would have responded to you. Let's listen to him cry like a little biatch because being Crump and them wouldn't respond to him.
To him. Here's the email. This is the first time we reached out to Benjamin Crump. You can look at the email there and you know exactly that we reached out to his team. We gave a generic media outreach where we put the information in there and say, hey, we would love to have an open dialogue. We value the conversation. Here's something that we want to know from his perspective what he has, and we wanted to deliver what we have to him. All right, we did that the first time. Here's the second time. 5 days later, here's the next one. What was that? A day after that?
Yep.
And then here's the fourth one.
Yeah, the fourth one is 5:30 in the morning, and it's basically saying, "Hey, we." That's still. You can go to the next one. Yeah, this is the first response I received, which is basically, or no, this is the final response where they basically say,
yes. So the final response said, "Thank you for reaching out. Interest in speaking with Benjamin Crump." Right. Yep. So the thing is, we reached out to Benjamin Crump. We reached out to talk to Benjamin Crump. We didn't reach out to talk to the family. We only wanted to talk to Benjamin Crump. Put the thing back up there. And so as you can see on there, it says, at this time, the family is taking a break from media engagement as they continue to grieve and spend time together. Why are you talking about the family? I know they're taking a break. Benjamin Crump should be taking a break. He's the attorney.
Correct.
We only wanted to talk.
He is the attorney. He's not. He don't want to talk to you. Nobody black wants to talk. Nobody black who's not a bootlegger like you want to talk to you. Get over it. Stop. You're a pussy. Stop crying, bitch. They don't want to talk to you. You're not credible. You may make a lot of money doing what you do, but you're a sellout. You're a token black. He ain't want to talk to you. Why would he? Why would he?
To him, they acknowledge the fact that you reached out and interested in speaking with attorney Benjamin Crump, but says that the family is taking the time apart. It's just a lame excuse for them not to engage with us.
They don't have to have an excuse. They don't have to have a reason, nor do they have to have an excuse. But I can pretty much, I mean, I'm not going to speak for Mr. B and Crump or nobody over there, but I can assume why they didn't reach back out to you, because they've had interviews with other YouTubers. They've been on interviews. They've done interviews, but they didn't want you. And I don't blame them.
People are running their mouth about whether or not they want to know the truth or not. We reach out to them plenty of times. And then we have Christina Wells, Nolan Wells' mom. Now, I want to put this in perspective because people were saying, why didn't the boys contact the mom? Why didn't they contact police? Why didn't they contact authorities?
Who are these people? Because that's an absolute fucking lie. It's been out here since the beginning that this dude called Nolan's mom. Why are you fucking lying? Who is these people? The same people that you say was saying they was out there by themselves on Gilligan's Island, bitch. Tatum, you are a whole liar. Well, since you love him, go over there and suck his dick. Now, back to you, Tatum. You full of shit. Who are these people? Who are these people that's saying they never that guy didn't reach out to that Nolan's mom? Because I've heard it from the beginning that he did. Listen to the manipulation. Listen, y'all.
Mama had to find out her kid was missing. Here's evidence that Warren was first thing he did when he thought anything was afoot, when he was worried about Nolan not coming home, and he was doing his due diligence and calling and communicating with people trying to find out where Nolan's at. First person he called was who? Nolan's mother.
And that's another lie, because I still stand on the fact that I heard that lady say by the time Warren had called her, the Coast Guard had already been called. So that's a lie too.
July the 4th at 11 p.m. He called her the first time, or 11:07. He called her the first time, and she picked up the phone and hung up in his face. And I
heard that lie. Now, who telling the truth? Who telling the truth, Tatum or Warren? Because Warren just said He called her phone and she didn't answer the first time, and then he called back. Do y'all remember hearing that? I should have pointed that out to y'all, but if you were listening, you would have heard it. In that interview that we just listened to on Chronicle Speaks, did Warren not say when he called Nolan's mom, the first time he called, she didn't answer, and then the second time he called, she answered? Who remembers that? Please let me know in the chat, because see, I can go back to it. I can go back to it and replay it. Okay, long as one person, because I don't want nobody to say I'm lying. Because I know I listens, baby. Warren stated he called the mom the first time. He didn't say she picked up and hung up. He said she did not answer. And then he said, I called again and she answered. Listen to what Tatum says. Lying ass motherfucking bootlegger motherfucker.
That Warren was first thing he did when he thought anything was afoot, when he was worried about Nolan not coming home, and he was doing his due diligence and calling and communicating with people trying to find out where Nolan's at. First person he called was who? Nolan's mother. On July the 4th at 11 p.m. He called her the first time, or 11:07, he called her the first time, and she picked up the phone and hung up in his face.
Who told you that lie? Did Warren tell you that? Because Warren told a different story sitting on your couch. I can replay it. I don't have no issue with that. Hold on a minute. Give me just a second. Hope I can find the time stuff. Give me a minute.
Nolan Xavier Wells was late to rest this. So first of all,
I saw him. Who were you with? What boat we were on?
What's your intent in calling the Coast Guard, right? Because right now,
but like I'm trying to find out where Nolan is. So I texted Javon and I was like, hey.
This picture, Evan Knoll deleted it as soon as people started calling him out. After
where's this picture at? Like, right. What is it? What's the context?
In a boat. But if y'all had already made it back to Jack's grandparents' house.
So when you're planed off and you have water in the boat, and the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat.
That's why I said there's no way in the world his stepmother loves him in real life, because if she did, if I'm catching this, her being a judge, I know she's seeing all of this. She doesn't like you.
Eventually we go over to a girlfriend of mine. She was having people over for 4th of July. We were doing like fireworks and stuff. So we all went over there to swim and hang out. And I was
this infamous picture that I've seen online of Nolan in the water in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Where is this picture associated?
We all sure there's not associated within even the same. I mean,
as USA, who does 2000?
Good time at a lady friend's house.
Right. I never got to the pool. I talked to her dad for a while, and all my friends were downstairs. I went upstairs, talked to her dad. We were talking about boats and stuff, and I've been with my friends all day. I was just talking to everybody. But
so you talked to the young lady's dad, and then how long was it before you realized, or you guys realized that? But where's Nolan at?
I mean, I went back downstairs, and all my friends were just hanging out, and my buddy Wyatt had addressed, talking about Nolan. And I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him? And he was like, no, we haven't. And I was like, okay, well, it's a little concerning. Like, I mean, I'm not freaking out or anything, but like, I'm trying to find out where Nolan is. So I texted Javon and I was like, hey, and also a couple other buddies that I had at the island. I was like, hey, have y'all seen Nolan? Did he ride in with y'all? And all the boys were like, no. Well, I texted Javon and I was like, hey, can you send me Miss Christine's number? Because I haven't heard from Nolan. And if she hasn't heard from Nolan, then I'm calling the Coast Guard. And so eventually Javon sends me her number.
Who is her? That's
Miss Christine.
Miss Christine
is Nolan's mom.
Nolan's mom.
Yeah. And I walked down to the dock because, there was a lot of people today. It was not a lot, but, there was probably 15 of our friends there. And I was just like, walk down to the dock with a couple of my buddies. And I got on the phone. I called Miss Christine, called her the first time. She didn't answer. I called her a second time. And I got on the phone with her. 15 of our friends there. And I was just like, walk down to the dock with a couple of my buddies. And I got on the phone. I called Miss Christine, called her the first time. She didn't answer. I called her a second time. And I got on the phone with her, and she
Did you hear it? All right, moving on. Call her the first time, she didn't answer. Call her the second time, she answered.
I didn't come down here, do anything other to get the truth. Did you kill?
Now let's go back to this fucking liar. Hold on.
People were saying, why didn't the boy?
Mm-hmm.
After telling his mom, hey, we don't know where Nolan's at, communicate with people, try to reach out to him plenty of times. And then we have Christina Wells, Nolan Wells' mom. Now, I want to put this in perspective because people were saying, why didn't the boys contact the mom? Why didn't they contact police? Why didn't they contact authorities? Why did mama have to find out her kid was missing? Here's evidence that Warren was first thing he did when he thought anything was afoot, when he was worried about Nolan not coming home, and he was doing his due diligence and calling and communicating with people trying to find out where Nolan's at. First person he called was who? Nolan's mother. On July the 4th at 11 p.m. He called her the first time, or 11:07, he called her the first time, and she picked up the phone and hung up in his face. And I think she did it because she didn't know who he was.
He elaborated on the lie. Once again, see, you got to pay attention. When they tell a lie, it's the elaboration. Now, you say he said he called her phone, she picked the phone up and hung it up. And then you go to say, I believe she did that because she didn't know who it was. See, first of all, you lying. Second of all, how can you assume if she did pick up the phone and hang it up, how can you assume what she did it for? But she didn't, because that's not what he said. That is not what he said. Who lying? You or him, Tatum? One of you bastards are lying.
To find out where Nolan's at. First person he called was who? Nolan's mother. On July the 4th at 11 p.m. He called her the first time, or 11:07, he called her the first time, and she picked up the phone and hung up in his face. And I think she did it because she didn't know who he was. He calls back a second time, and he had a 5-minute conversation with her, as you can see right here on the call log. And then immediately, after telling his mom, hey, we don't know where Nolan's at. Have you heard from Nolan? Immediately afterwards, I think probably 2 minutes after.
Yeah, scroll to the next one. Yeah, 13. So literally after the 5-minute call, there was probably about a minute, give or take.
So about a minute or so after he had tried to communicate with Nolan's mom, who does he call? He called the Coast Guard. He called before Nolan's mother called, before any of the other.
Who was just in the chat and said that he never called the Coast Guard? Because, see, this is where I think I screwed up. I mean, got mixed up, and I can own my shit. Maybe I heard he called the mama first, she didn't answer. Then he called the Coast Guard, then he called the mama back, because that's the story he just told. He said he called the mama, she didn't answer. He called the Coast Guard, and then he called the mama back and said, you know, I've already called the Coast Guard. What I didn't remember is that he said, you know what I'm saying, he tried to call her first, because I don't remember him saying initially that he tried to call her first. But how it went was he called the mom, she didn't answer. He then called the Coast Guard, and then he called the mom back, and that's when he told the mom, you know, I've contacted the Coast Guard. There you have it. But Tatum ass is lying, and he'll never own that shit. Like, I fucked up the timeline, and I can own that shit and correct myself. But this bastard, he ain't gonna never do that. No, it don't benefit him to do that.
The friends, and I'm doing this in quotations, meaning that they are categorizing these people as his close friends. None of them called. He called before Nolan's mother called, before any of the other.
No, none of them called Nolan's mama, being the black boys, because they why would they panic? Everybody was out. Everybody was having a good time. It was 4th of July night. Teenagers was out late. Y'all weren't even at home. Y'all was doing shit. Why would Javon and them panic about Nolan not showing up when they assumed Nolan was with y'all, and it was 4th of July night, and just because they hadn't heard from Nolan, they didn't panic because they didn't think anything was wrong, but you guys knew something was wrong. See, this is the Caucasians covering their tracks. Javon and them didn't panic because they didn't know anything had happened. There was no need for them to panic. Y'all panicked because y'all knew. Just like when that daddy went over there to get his keys and you said, Nolan, where's my friend? You spoke about Nolan in the past tense before anybody knew he was D-E-A-D, dead bitch. Yeah, Warren, you referred to Nolan in the past tense before his body was discovered. You referred to him in the past. And that's another thing about lying. Sometimes, just sometimes, if you're not careful, your self-conscious will come up and speak before you are able to verbalize it. Let's listen.
Friends, and I'm doing this in quotations, meaning that they are categorizing these people as his close friends. None of them called. None of them. I don't know if they didn't care or they just wasn't close enough to Nolan to notice that he wasn't coming to where they're supposed to be at.
It don't make it no better that you and Warren, because Warren did it on your show and you doing it here, and you wonder why Ben Crump won't reach out to your ass. You're shading his friends. You're shading his mother. You're shading Nolan, bitch. Why would they come on your platform? Now you shading his friends, the black friends, of course, because, you know, you ain't going to go against the white boys, but you will shade the black boys and say, oh, why they didn't know that he wasn't heard from? Did they just not care? Were they not that close? See, all that ain't even necessary. You feel me?
He called a co-star right here. Just called before any of the other friends, and I'm doing this in quotations, meaning that they are categorizing these people as his close friends. None of them called. None of them. I don't know if they didn't care or they just wasn't close enough to Nolan to notice that he wasn't coming to where they're supposed to be at. He called a co-star right here.
It's also important to note that these are screen caps from Warren's phone sent to us directly.
Yeah, the screenshots from Warren's phone sent to us directly. We saw them live, and then we took the screenshots to show you guys so you know that. And we blurred the numbers out because we don't want to.
Gives a fuck. Don't nobody care.
Put people's numbers out there online, but these are the actual phone call records. And then here is aerial view. People were saying this was a secluded island. Benjamin Crump them came out and act like this was, and I know for a fact.
Here you go again. He gonna repeat this lie every show. He's repeating this lie on every show for a reason. Here he go again, repeating this lie. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Okay, y'all. All right, let's listen.
All of you guys that are listening, I know when you first heard this, I know you were thinking the same thing I was thinking. I thought they went out to a secluded island.
Yep.
He said he went out with white boys, his 4 friends or so, and he didn't come home. And somehow there was a girl that seen him.
That's the truth. He went out to the island with 4 friends and didn't come home. What the hell are you talking about? That's the truth. Yeah, they both clowns, K-Cell. Charleston White and him, they're both clowns. They're both coons. They're both bootlickers. They both, when the white man has his first chance at him, or they cross the white man one good time, they're going to kick him in the ass. And they think the white people love them. I'm just saying.
As if it was, I don't know, 10, 15 people at this island or less. Mm-hmm. Look at this video. This was sent to us by a pilot who...
Oh, Lord. This man right here is a piece of work.
Rode over the island and took a picture and captured it. Every little dot that you see on the screen, which there has to be hundreds of boats on the top side, which is the northern side of Horn Island. And then there's probably about 30, 40 boats on the south side of Horn Island. And then all the streaking that you see inside of this picture, which could be another 40 boats or so, or maybe a little less than that. I mean, it could be like 20, 30 boats, are all boats that are coming and going from the island. You think thousands of people are there, hundreds of boats, saturated with people coming and going from the island. And so therefore, when you see Nolan and the friends say, you know, people are coming and going. If you want to go and come, you can come with somebody, go back with another person. So you see the traffic.
You know what? All that manipulation and narration you trying to put out here, it don't change the fact that young man is not here. Whether it was 2 people on the fucking island or 2,000, it doesn't matter. And you just don't understand that you stressing the fact that it was an island full of people. Let me tell you how dumb you look, Tatum, with your cotton mouth ass. This how dumb you look. You keep stressing with your lying ass that it was thousands of people on this island. That makes more of a case for how in the fuck did Nolan end up dead and don't nobody know what happened. Huh? You keep stressing that, but you're lying because you're saying that was the narrative for a long time, which is a fucking lie. We've been knew it was people like that. I mean, videos and pictures and all kind of shit been coming out to where we see all these people out there. That's why it does not make sense that nobody knows what happened. If these motherfuckers can get a video of two motherfuckers arguing, then they can have a video or a picture of somebody drowning. Because I'm sure Nola didn't go down without a fight. You got to make the shit make sense. And you sitting up there, and the more you stressing this lie that you trying to tell, you giving credence to the fact that all them people out there on that island, why come can't nobody say, I guess Nolan just poof, just disappeared into midair, and all of a sudden his body washed up 2 days later. Make the shit make sense. And all these fugazi ass phone calls that motherfuckers make because I said it once, I said it twice, and I said it again. When it comes to white people, they always try to stay one step ahead.
Of how many people are coming and going from this island, Nolan clearly could have went with somebody if he did not go with the people he came on the boat with.
Something that's important.
Well, who are these people that he went with, Tatum, since you know? Who are the people? Who are the people that Nolan left with? It's these fish. So this whole thing is Nolan decided to leave with a group of other people. Who are the other people? How come these other people ain't speaking up? How come Katie don't know who these other people is? How come Nolan ain't tell Warren and them who he was leaving with? See, you got to make it all make sense. It's easy to say, oh, we left him on the island. It's easy to say that now that he's gone. Shit.
To note as well is you said, the narrative is this is a remote island, in the middle of the ocean, it's very small. It is about 10 to 12.
Oh, shut the fuck up, you 40-year-old virgin. Ain't nobody said that but that man sitting next to you. You two booty bandits. Y'all are the only somebody that I've heard ever say that was a secluded island. I have never heard anybody, even in the beginning, say that was a secluded island. Yes, it was said that Nolan went on the island with 4 friends and didn't come back because that's the fucking truth. It's the truth. The fuck is wrong with these people? And then he sit up here with this bullshit. And like I said, the fact of the matter is Nolan is gone. And if anybody can't step up and say what happened to this young man, it's some shit in the motherfucking milk. And I don't give a fuck what nobody say. And just because you sit your ass up on that platform and make up lies and manipulate lies while collecting your money from Massa, you bootlicker, you. That don't change the fact that Nolan is gone and nobody knows what happened to Nolan. The fuck is wrong with you? And you think this woman and her husband is not supposed to do any and everything to try to find out what happened to their son? Bitch, you don't love your kids. You can't, because I can, bitch. This my channel. That's why. Now get the fuck out. You don't love your motherfucking kids. If you can't understand why parents would in turn every motherfucking rock, every boulder, every motherfucking mountain to try to find out what happened to their child, and you want to sit up there and judge. Bitch, you don't love your kids. You can't. If you can't resonate with that, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Sitting up there. Ooh, baby, let me just push play. I can't. See, I can't, y'all.
12 miles long, and you can see it from shore. Like you can visit without binoculars, you can see the island.
Yeah, where we were staying, we went to Mississippi. We could see it in the distance.
Yep,
you can see about 7-8 miles out. We were a lot closer to the island than they were when they docked and came in. Here's another item of evidence that I think is important for us to debunk, and that is this photo right here. People are still using the photo. Some nut job on Instagram the other day, and I don't know why people still follow these people because they're liars and they're evil. Because Nolan, or not Nolan, but Warren was on my podcast and said, "Hey, I was the guy that had my arm around Nolan in this picture," which tells you that how close friends they were.
Yep.
Don't tell nobody shit. You know how many motherfucking snakes will hug you while having a knife in one hand? Man, get the fuck out of here. Just because he had his arms, that meant he might have wanted to fuck Nolan, bitch. Him having his arm around Nolan don't mean they close. Them motherfuckers walk around there and call you buddy all day long. Hey there, buddy. Hey there, dude. And the whole time can't stand your motherfucking ass. Y'all, the white people are some of the most not all, because I love me some white people. The ones that I love. But I do know there are those that will laugh and skin and grin in your motherfucking face and the whole time can't stand your motherfucking ass. Just because he had his arm around him don't mean a damn thing. The whole time he got his arm around him, he thinking to himself, I want to just take his head and dip it in this water. Because that's how they do. They ain't the only ones, though. But that's who we talking about right here and right now. The fuck is you talking about? Bootlicker. That's why your mouth so damn dry, bitch. You stay licking ass and boots.
Before at an event, and Nolan is out there with all his white friends. And they were saying, oh, this was the day of. Benjamin Crump pushed that this was the day of.
Yes.
And here's a screenshot of the actual incident, timestamped by the guy who actually took the photo. And what does it say? June the 27th.
At 11:58 p.m. All
this stuff he's pointing out has been like, people have now realized and recognized, you bitch, people are now owning that picture is from June. Why the fuck are you still talking about it? Because you got to repeat these same narratives and these same lies. You got to keep doing it. You miss saying you love someone. I do. I have biracial nieces and nephews. I love them to death. So what the fuck I said, I meant. I love the ones I love, and I don't fuck with the ones I don't fuck with. Do you need me to repeat it? I will. The fuck is wrong with you? Take your ass back to your dungeon ass motherfucking existence. The hell? This my shit. Start you a channel, and you can say whatever the fuck you want to say. This my shit.
Debunks the idea that this is somehow associated with the day he was killed or he died in a drowning or whatever happened to Nolan.
And the other thing that's important, obviously, we have the timestamp, but also, too, a lot of people are saying, oh, the USA in the guy's chest hair. We talked, Nick and I actually sat with Warren at dinner, and what Warren said, which is they were so excited for the 4th of July, he preemptively did it as, he's just excited. So people who say that that's, clearly on the 4th of July, no, they were enthusiastic about this event for weeks.
They may mention that they have been excited about this from last year,
yes,
July the 5th.
Yep.
Meaning that the day after July the 4th, because they all went to the island last year together.
Yes.
But nobody's talking about that. All of a sudden, they want to kill them this year, but last year they all went to the island.
They come, but my people know, my mind's in this chat, and people that support me, they know I have triggers. And sometimes I have to just, I have to step back a little bit because I do have triggers. This right here is triggering for me, this whole case. It's a trigger. Sandra, don't put stuff like that in the chat. I'm just going to delete your comment, not you, but don't put stuff like that in the chat. It'll get you flagged. It'll get me flagged.
Before we get into the Christine stuff that we're going to talk about, we were going to present some text messages from the Katie that everyone's talking about, who was with.
Oh, now y'all want to play more. Y'all want to be the moral police and say, see, now they're gonna say they got text messages from Katie, because now they're gonna try to insinuate Katie got some goings on, but they're not gonna put them up because Katie ain't gave him no interview. So to me, honestly, that's a type of manipulation for them to try to get Katie on the show. See, everybody ain't fucking with Tatum. Those dudes, them buddies, them dudes, Warren and the other dude who we gonna listen to tomorrow, they contacted Tatum. They watch him. They know he, talk down on black people. They strategically chose him. Okay, that's gonna come out later too.
Who was, people say maybe potentially last seen. We don't know. That's alleged. But we were going to show these text messages, but we decided what, Brandon? We
wanted to talk to Katie first.
Yes.
Because in due diligence, we spoke to all the other kids that were involved in this allegedly, and we actually had a sit-down interview with Warren and Tristan. And therefore, we feel very comfortable sharing the messages and stuff they gave us because we actually talked to them and got the context around it. And so we have the text messages from Katie, and I could give you a synopsis, but I didn't want to put it on the screen because I didn't want anybody taking her out of context.
No, see, that's right. That's where you're full of shit, and that's where you manipulate and you lie and you narrate. Now, you're not gonna put the messages up, but you're gonna give a synopsis. You wanna know why? Because you're gonna lie. And you're gonna make those messages believe whatever you want the people to believe. See, fuck that. Morale my ass. Oh, we rather talk to Katie first and then we'll put them in bullshit. Because if that was the case, if you're not gonna put them up, you shouldn't be saying what's in them. Because you lie, dude. I just proved it. I proved it over and over again. You lie. So if you were trying to be honest and truthful, if you're not gonna put them up, why say what's in them? Because you lie. Yeah.
Anything of that nature. If Katie wants to come forward and talk to us about it, we'll treat her with the same.
This is them manipulating Kaylee low key to come on the show, y'all. Pay attention. Or extorting, if I could use that word.
This is from Katie, and I can give you a synopsis, but I didn't want to put it on the screen because I didn't want anybody taking her out of context or anything of that nature.
Well, you saying it, and you may take it out of context, and then people may take what you're saying out of context. Let the people, so you don't think the people smart enough to read a text and be able to distinguish what it's saying? So you saying something about your own audience. That if you put some text messages up, they can take it and not understand it and not comprehend them. That's your audience. Right? Right.
Katie wants to come forward and talk to us about it. We'll treat her with the same level of respect and dignity as everybody else. And then we'll present those at the time as evidence. We do have the text. I will tell you what the text say, in a synopsis, but I don't want to put her text and stuff out there without talking to her first and giving her the opportunity to present as much context as she needs. And because I think it's not going to be as thorough if we just put it up on the screen. Yeah. And she may have tons more.
Why wouldn't it be as thorough if you put it up on the screen? And so it wouldn't be thorough for you to put them up on the screen so people can read for themselves. But it would be thorough for you to narrate them or to say out of your mouth what they say and what they mean. Come on, bro. You're not making sense. You're not making sense at all. You're a bullshitter is what you are.
More information about it. So Katie, if you're watching this, anybody that know Katie, we will treat you with the same level of respect and dignity as we did everybody else. Be cognizant of interviewing you. And if you have a lawyer or something, we'll consult and do everything to make sure that we protect you and protect anybody that you may mention so nobody gets sued and none of the other stuff. So Katie, you can reach out to us at tips@theofficertatum.com. I'm
gonna say, Officer Tatum, you better be very, very careful because them people handing out lawsuits and stuff and paperwork, legal paperwork. I know one thing: if I was Nolan's mama, you would be the first to get some. I ain't gonna even lie, I ain't gonna hold you. You will be the first one I present the paperwork to. With your weak ass.
Tips@theofficertatum.com. I think we got a phone number or something like that. You can text us on our phone line 480-788-1858.
Perfect.
All right, let's get to
Christine said that no one had reached out to her from the boys or the family.
That's right. Christine, which is Nolan's mother, said, and we got evidence of her saying this.
Yes.
She said,
now, this is how he's gonna manipulate this. She did initially say that, but then Miss Christine came back and she corrected herself. So you're trying to indicate that she's not being honest. See, this is why I would put some paperwork on your ass, Snook. All them massive dollars that you making, I will put paperwork on your ass. Because the woman made a mistake. She's grieving. She got a lot going on. She made a mistake. She came back and corrected that mistake. But you still want to try to point out ways that she's not being truthful. See what I'm saying? Let's watch.
And this is the part that bothers me because I don't know if she intentionally did this in a malicious way, which will make me lose a tremendous amount of respect for her.
Well, you know she didn't because the woman came back and apologized for it and she corrected herself. So you're full of shit once again. Yep.
Evidence of her saying this.
Yes.
She said, and this is the part that bothers me because I don't know if she intentionally did this in a malicious way, which will make me lose a tremendous amount of respect for her, or are these hood knuckle dragging thugs who are siphoning money out the black community, leveraging young brothers' deaths, convinced her to say this in order to.
That's what he's saying about Company, and he doing the same thing.
Her saying this.
Yes. So if he getting the money, he get his money from the wides. You know what I'm saying? He get his money from the wides.
She said, and this is the part that bothers me, because I don't know if she intentionally did this in a malicious way, which will make me lose a tremendous amount of respect for her, or are these hood knuckle dragging thugs who are siphoning money out the black community, leveraging young brothers' deaths, convinced her to say this in order to push a narrative. Let me show you why I say this. And I'm not saying which one is right, but this is why our question is. Roll the clip.
We've heard different accounts of how long he's known them. And I was wondering also if you folks have spoken to those families since they lawyered up.
High school friends.
Is when we found out.
Yeah. Say the second part again. Have talked to the families. No. Last question.
That's it.
So yeah, he's basically calling them apes, Miss Ann. He's basically calling Ben Crump. And did you get that out of that? Because that's what I got out of it. What you think? He's basically calling them apes. You see what I'm saying? This is him. Supposed to be a black man. Yeah. What you get out of him saying knuckle dragging? What you get out of it, Miss Ann? Let me know. I go with what you think. Yeah.
She gets on there and she says they haven't spoken to the family or did anything like that, alluding to the fact that as if the family haven't tried to communicate with her since she lowered up. Meaning
that's not alluding to anything. See how you make shit up? You see how you make shit up? She said what she said. She wasn't alluding to nothing. You made that up, but she did make a mistake and she did correct it. Let's listen.
They lowered up and they haven't heard any contact from the family. Well, here is Ashley Cole, the stepmama who's a judge, is what they say, and she's a family law judge. She's not.
Now look at this judge presenting Tatum with evidence. She's a judge now. Tatum ain't law enforcement. The bitch didn't even make 10 years. He's not law enforcement, but the judge done gave him a receipt of her reaching out to Miss Christine. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with these people. The judge, now this is the judge, done presented him with some evidence like he's law enforcement or some shit. Trying to plead her case and her stepson's case. This is what they're doing, trying to plead their case to the public, but the public don't matter, bitch. The court is what matters. If you stay tuned and pay attention and not acting like a peg, you will see where she corrects it. Just shut the fuck up and watch. How about that?
Criminal judge. So, they want to make her out to be like she's going to interfere with the case. She don't have no leverage to interfere with the case, to be quite honest. But anyway, this is her. And we got this.
You know what? You know why I think he hate black people or black men specifically? Because he didn't make it as a cop and he didn't make it as a football player. And there was a lot of black men that did. And he's mad. He's mad because he wasn't good enough. And he's mad. He's seen all these other black brothers make it and he did. He couldn't even make it as a cop. He couldn't make it as a football player. So now he's a bootlicker. Yup.
To us. And so we have this information available. As you can see it, this has been verified. I saw it with my own eyes. And this is a message from Ashley Cole to Nolan's mother. And it says, Christine, this is Ashley Cole. If or when you ever want to talk to me, this is my number. This was on July the 7th.
Correct.
Now, the question is, if you want to know what happened.
Again, if I was Miss Christine, I wouldn't have talked to her neither. Because you reaching out July the 7th, days after my son done been found dead. And y'all are covering. I wouldn't want to talk to her neither. I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't want to talk to her. That's just me, though. That's just me.
To your son, and you think that his friends are responsible, had any involvement, it would be conducive for you to say, let me talk to their mama and see what they're talking about. Because she is
For what? What you gonna talk to their mama for? Like their mama gonna admit to you that they had something to do with your son being unalive? Why would she feel that way? Why would she feel like, oh, I think they may have did something to my son? If I talk to his judge stepmama, maybe she'll tell me that's what happened. Maybe she'll tell me the truth. The woman has flat out said over and over again, she don't trust Mississippi law. That woman is part of Mississippi law. She a whole motherfucking judge. So that right there let you know she don't trust her. So no, she don't want to talk to her. No. Just like Crump and them don't want to talk to your ass. You raggedy bitch.
offering to communicate, even though they have lawyers.
Yes.
And the thing is, the boys didn't lawyer up immediately. Warren had a lawyer before anybody else, but the rest of the boys did an interview, equivalent of a polygraph test, all with no lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So they
I need y'all to pay attention to the fact that he keeps mentioning this equivalent to a polygraph test. I don't know what the fuck that is, but he mentions it over and over again. So I'm thinking here in the near future, it's going to be very significant to whatever comes out. Okay? Pay attention.
like they all lawyered up. That's not what happened. And then, even if they lawyered up, the mom said, come talk to me.
Yes.
And what did she do?
And what does that mean? What does that mean? Because she said, come talk to me. Who the fuck is she? If the woman didn't want to talk to her, she didn't want to talk to her, and she didn't.
She don't say anything. And then she had to make a correction.
Yes.
A few days later, roll it.
But
here's where she makes the correction. Nimnut.
The parents, again, they've offered, and I need to correct myself because I think yesterday in one of the interviews, I think I said that maybe none of them, I want to say 2 or 3 of them have reached out. Just the first one expressing their condolences, another one just saying, hey, give me a call if and when you're ready type of deal. And then another one just, sorry for your loss, but hey, we need to talk type of thing. And you know what?
What?
It hasn't, are we at a week? My brain is mush. We're all over the place emotionally. This has been a difficult situation. I cannot express how hard this has been on not just us as parents, but also his siblings.
But they got bald head milk dud down there that can communicate. Why don't they have them talk to their lawyer?
They don't have to do anything. They don't have to communicate with these people. Their son's death is being investigated. They doing the right thing. They don't have to communicate with them people at all.
Don't they communicate that? So you're telling me this is the part that makes me mad, and this is why I question them sometimes, that this is another money grab situation. If my son was killed or dead,
sure,
and these are the last boys that's with him, they clearly are friends.
Right.
Yeah. The parents don't.
You said it right the first time. You said it right the first time. See, that's that self-conscious again. Because you believe he was killed. You believe they had something to do with it, but you running with master. You running with master, so you can't say it out loud. You got to play the role. You said it right the first time, Taylor. You said it right the first time, you dumb nut.
That this is another money grab situation. If my son was killed or dead,
sure,
and these are the last boys that's with him, they clearly are friends.
Yeah.
The parents don't seem to be hiding anything because they're trying to reach out.
Right.
They gave.
That's a total lie. Just because they reach out, let me tell you why people reach out a lot of times. Especially those Caucasians who try to stay one step ahead. They're reaching out to see what her head at. They're reaching out to see what she has been told, what she know. They ain't reaching out of no fucking concern. They ain't reaching out because they love Nolan like they screaming and hollering and didn't even show up. They had the respect to show up. Did they? Now, they want to say that, the boys didn't show up because of this and the third. Did they send a flower, bitch? Did they send a flower? Anything.
Condolence, and they saying, let's talk. One parent said, we need to talk.
Yes.
What do you want to talk?
And no, we don't need to talk. If I was that woman, I'd be thinking, look, bitch, you trying to tell me what to do, and that ain't gonna fly with me. I don't want to talk to you, and I don't want to talk to you, and I'm not gonna talk to you. I don't give a fuck how much you reach out. I don't want to talk.
Talk to me about. Well, you may know what happened to my son. So
if they know what happened to her son, why ain't they telling the cops? Why? Because see, now you trying to make it seem like, if they now you trying to say they know what happened. They may know what happened, but all this time you've been saying they don't know because they were long gone and Nolan stayed on the island. Now you trying to say, they may know what happened. They may be trying to tell the mama what happened. Get the fuck out of here. Make it all make sense. Lying ass.
Boys that's with him, they clearly are friends.
Yeah.
The parents don't seem to be hiding anything because they're trying to reach out.
Right.
They gave condolence and they saying, let's talk. One parent said, we need to talk.
Yes.
What do you want to talk to me about? Well, you may know what happened to my son. So let me talk to you and see what you got. But no, I don't want to talk to them.
Child, please. If they know what happened to her son, tell the cops. If you know what happened to my son, tell the cops. I don't want your manipulation. I don't want your fake ass, I don't want none of that. Talk to the cops. That would be my notion. Huh.
Well, also too, you would do your due diligence as a parent to turn over every stone possible.
Let me talk to these people and see what they
That's what she's doing, and y'all criticizing her for it. Y'all criticizing her for turning every stone, but when it comes to the wives, she's supposed to bow down to them and give them what they want. The fuck out of here. I'll do the direct opposite.
Gotta say, because if they coming forward to me, I ain't gotta chase them down.
Yeah.
Then maybe they got something I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe
also,
they're willing to share some text or share some video or give me some context because
take it to the cops. Take it to the cops.
They're out here right now saying, we don't know what happened. The boys, he left with the white boys and then came back dead. And I don't know what happened. It's like, ma'am, are you saying a couple days ago parents have been reaching out to you?
Right.
Why would they reach out to you? They kill your son.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. The same way they skin and grin in your face, act like they love you, and they go home and call you niggers. That's what they do. Period. I stand on it. They will smile, grin, skin in your face, tell you the best, say they love you, say we're tight, we're friends, and then they go home in the privacy of their own home with their significant other or other friends and call you a whole nigger. Ha! Get the fuck out of here, man. Ain't nobody acting like this shit don't happen.
like you wouldn't, if you were hiding something, the last
Man, if I killed somebody, I'm gonna get a lawyer and you ain't gonna hear from me.
Gone.
These people don't work that way, and I know you know that. They would rather be close to you. When they know they done fucked up, when they done did something, they would rather be close to you to pick your brain, to get all the information, to see what you know, to see what the police are saying, all this type of stuff. That's what they do. They're fucking snakes. They're snakes. Get the fuck out. This is my shit. This is almost over, y'all. We're gonna get out of here because I've probably been went the fuck out.
But these kids didn't even have lawyers and their parents are reaching out.
Yep.
All right.
That's it. That's it for today, y'all. That's it for today. We'll be back to roast Tatum ass some more tomorrow. Because I'm going to stay roasting this motherfucker. He done got on my bad side. He full of shit. And y'all know I love popping motherfuckers in lies. Like, that is my pleasure. Especially a motherfucker like him with his coon ass. Now, with that being said, for to get the fuck out of here, if you're in the live and you enjoyed the content, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Double tap that screen to like before you leave. If you was in here and you didn't like the live, but yet your dumb ass was still sitting in here, get the fuck out and don't come back. I would appreciate that. With that being said, each and every one of y'all have a blessed, beautiful day. Shout out to my moderators. Shout out to my new subscribers. Shout out to everybody that supports me. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will be back tomorrow morning and we will get into it some more. With that being said, until next time, truth seekers stand up and we out. I love y'all and appreciate y'all. Y'all be good.